Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Also, good morning to you folks out on the West Coast. Let's check this audio real quick. Wow, it is streaming in loud. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, seven. No, that's not seven on my mic. My microphone two. Let me turn it down in the software. There we go. Audio check. Audio check. It's better. All right, so let's get the chat up here, and as you can see, I still haven't adjusted the videos for the intro, and I did have a chance to pick another intro and outro on the stream, so that was fun. I've got a little bit set up for today, and let's take a look. All right, so first we've got in Canada, we've got a new luxury tax on cars in Canada that's for cars over $100,000 and would represent 10% of the full value of the item. And something I found interesting is that apparently it is retroactive. So let's see if this link is still active here. Actually, first let's see if my switch tabs button is back. It is not. That's fine. We'll be pasting everything in when we can. All right. So this is aimed at private jets, yachts, and luxury cars, of which Canada seems to keep thinking that Teslas are just because they're expensive. They're not luxury cars. Anyway, let's see. Where did they say that it was retro? Right here. So the new rate would equate to 10% of the full value of the item and would also apply the tax retroactively to any written sales agreement made after January 1st, 2022, which you can't do that here. So I'm astounded at. I don't know how you guys can do that. I mean, I'm guessing it's legal if they did that, but imagine buying a Tesla and then you did the Tesla stretch, and then all of a sudden you've got 10% more tax to worry about. And you bought the car in June. And they did it back through January, or even worse, you didn't know this was on the radar because you bought it in January, January 2nd, for instance, and then all of a sudden they hit you with this. I was hoping some of the Canadians would be online so we could discuss it, but definitely leave a comment down in the description. That like how common is this for you guys? I don't know what to make of it. Moving on to something I can speak to. Well, I can speak more to, I should say. There's a report that GM is losing $5 million a day on Cruise automation. This is their self-driving taxi startup acquisition, and it's a lot of money to be losing every day. GM confirmed they lost more than $500 million during the year's second quarter, which is $5 million a day. They made progress in 2022. Last time we saw them was when that car got pulled over by the cops and then ran and then stopped again. And then, who was it? One of them content buying sites bought it and flagged my video. But we go live, so it doesn't matter to do sold this stuff. That's a video. Snip, snip. Anyway, Mary's leading again, baby. Mary is leading again. I'm curious to see what becomes of whatever they're doing with Cruise. I mean, obviously, if they plan to run it as a business, they'll need to make profit. But if they're using it as data gathering operation or PR, then they can run it losing money for quite a while. And they could also be pulling like a Toyota with the Prius, just go out there, lose the money up front, and then eventually, once they've got everything dialed in, like it's already priced to make money once they catch up. That's another possibility. Let's see here. Same article here. You may hear Moko in the background. She's talking and babbling, mostly babbling. She's got a couple words down. She told the doctor, okay. She'll tell me hi and hey, And of course, milk. Milk is her favorite word. What else does she say? That's it. Everything else is babble. So, and here we go. This one is good news. She's demanding milk now that I mentioned it. Sorry. Rivian's opening their first service center in Canada. That's a nice thing because you need at least one service center in the country. Even if you're doing mobile service, sometimes there's just stuff that mobile techs can't handle. And yes, it's not convenient to ship it from the far reaches of the country to wherever the shop is, but being able to have that option without having to get it in the States, go through customs, all that jazz, or worse, take a trip here, get a visa, and it's really hard to own a car without service on a new car. An old classic, whatever, that's fine. You know what you get into, but with a new car, you expect it to have some service. So we're looking at what city is this in? Vancouver. There you go. They didn't say where in Vancouver, and they've got 21 service centers in the U.S. That's nice. That was a question of mine. How are they in the states after that? Uh, I do know that they've got their mobile service, and from what I hear, it's just as nice as what it is here in the states. All right. So, what do you guys think about getting a vehicle that is from an up and coming company? How concerned with getting service are you? Did you want to see a service center nearby? Did you just want to know that they can handle you? Um, as a example of what I had to deal with when I got the Tesla is illegal in South Carolina because money. Uh, that's all it is, money. A couple of large dealer groups blocked it. They can't sell or service the cars there, but they can do mobile service. I don't know how that works, but so the service center. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, which is basically at the bottom edge of the state, and the service center was in outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Still is, and that was a 4 hour there, 4 hour back, so an 8 hour round trip to get the car serviced. And at first it was like, yeah, this doesn't happen all that often. It's no big deal. And then they offered uh, Ranger service, which is the mobile service. They offered it for a certain fee per mile per visit, and I didn't want to pay for that. It was expensive, so I just kept driving to Charlotte whenever I needed service. And then they switched it a little bit, and you could get Ranger service for $100 a visit, flat fee. So it was whatever, if it was warranty or if you had to pay for whatever it was, plus $100. And for me, that was worth it because I would make more than $100 in a day at work, and I would lose more than $100 a day trying to figure out whether I was taking unpaid vacation or paid vacation or whatever to go get the car serviced. And so even better was they would come to my office, so I didn't even have to take lunch break, and they would just work on the car, and then they hand me back the key fob. Then Tesla did, what they have now, which was just incredible. Mobile service was free to visit, free for warranty work. You just pay the labor rate and parts. So if you were working on warranty stuff, they would come in, they would do the work, they would leave. That was a game changer. So I became great friends with our mobile tech. He's since gone on to start his own mobile tech company. And after I left Charleston, they opened a service center in Savannah, Georgia, which is like right on the border with Georgia and South Carolina. So that made the trip shorter, and I haven't had a chance to experience that. I guess I might if I go visit family or go check on my house and then need service because uh, the prospect of a shorter trip sounds nice, but the Tesla customer service is still a mixed bag that they're working on. And I've heard good stuff, but I've heard bad stuff from the local owners. And I'll have to try it for myself to see how I feel. But at the same time, we have the same situation here with when there was only one service center in Northern Virginia. Now there's two or three, and then there's a bunch in Maryland as well. Then there's of course one in Southern Virginia as well. But when I got there, this one was overloaded, and they were really bad at customer service. And over time, as they figured out their situation, as they opened more service centers, everything started to get better. And I actually kind of like the service here now. The only thing I don't like is the Uber credits. Take your take on Uber credits and give me give me a car. That's what Elon promised. The best car that they have to offer. And let's see. Timothy says that's sort of a pain. So they opened the Savannah Center right after you would have needed it. Yes, exactly. They also opened the supercharger in Charleston right after I left as well. So I was like, because I was dealing with the Chatamo and the three Chatamo stations that they have in Charleston. And as I've mentioned a couple times on What Drives Us, and maybe once or twice on the Tesla Life, uh, while I was using them, they ended up cutting one of those two stations, or one of the three stations. There was a bank that was going up near Starbucks, and that construction company kept either blocking or cutting the power to the charger. And it was thankfully I was able to charge at home most days, but I was running Uber with my Model S, and you kind of tend to want to stay where the customers are, and I didn't have time to go track all the way home and then charge slowly. When even though Chattanooga is slower, it's still faster than my house by at least three times the speed, because I can charge at 72 amps, which is what, maybe 60 miles an hour ish, and at 50 kilowatts, it's so 50 to my what, 12. You'll notice the difference. Gets you done in a lunch break instead of in 4 hours, which was what it takes to get from the red to the green. Well, not the green, the red to the charge set point on my home charger. But yeah, I was like, man, just missed me. They're waiting for me to leave. Yeah. So I mean, I understand this isn't even as bad as it gets. Some folks, like in Alaska, you don't have a service center in Alaska, so you get to put your car on a ferry and then wait on it for weeks while it does its thing, and then they still have mobile service up there, and for most of the stuff, um, they'll bring all the parts I need, and they'll service everybody up there. Um, I think Alaska and then Charleston was doing this for sure. They would rent bays from local repair shops and work on things where the car needed to be picked up in the air, and that was pretty cool. Typically, a mobile tech is not allowed to lift your car off the ground unless they've got a spotter, which is basically only when they've got somebody training with them. So, uh, high voltage electrical and lifting the car are things that they had to have a spotter for, which makes sense because if I was inside working and something happened to the tech, they wouldn't know about it until somebody passing by, or I went out to go check on him. Hey, what's taking him so long? Oh shoot, he's had an emergency. Uh, so that's a fine policy. It makes sense, especially the lifting these cars. I know the Model 3 is actually average weight compared to like a BMW, but the Model S and the Model X are still chunkers, and it's a good safety policy. All right, so we talked about the Rivian Service Center. Then let's talk about the Mustang Mach-E a little bit. So the Ford Mustang Mach-E weekly production rate has been revealed. Let's see what they are looking at here. They're looking to ramp up slowly to 200,000 units by 2023, as they told us, which is, they could do better. They can certainly do better. Um, let's see precisely where they are. Lisa Drake, Vice President of EV Industrialization for Ford Model E, revealed that the number in an update and answers in an answer session. So they are currently making 2,000 Mach-E's a week. So they're matching the Model S and the Model X. That's not bad. However, at the price point and market segment that the Mach-E is in, you want to see them kind of chase down that Model Y really quickly. It's not enough. Especially when you keep hearing all these people saying, "Oh, they've been making cars for hundreds of years. They know what they're doing." Blah blah blah. Whenever they feel like it, they'll actually be able to just jump in and dominate. And I don't see any legacy manufacturer actually competing in EVs right now. Yes, they make a compelling product. Yes, it's good, but they aren't doing that thing that they said they would do, where they would come in and like and you would notice them on the scene. They're coming in with these little tepid little trials, and 2,000 a week is not bad. But remember, the Model S and the Model X have been making 2,000 a week for almost 5 years now. it's and they haven't increased because they're not the prime selling vehicles. They're up there with the price, and the Mach-E is not that. It's in the mid price bracket. Yeah. So Giga Shanghai is aiming for 2,000 Model Ys produced in a day, or 14,000 Model Ys per week. I mean, they're gonna do it a day what Ford does in a week. But yet the legacies are kind of come in and just like make Tesla look poor, right? I would like to see some of this competition because I keep saying electrify all the things. Tesla can't do it by themselves, and now everybody wants or likes a Tesla, or doesn't necessarily suit their needs. Maybe they want a 747 cockpit with a million buttons. That'll never happen for Tesla, so they're going to need something like a Cadillac to help them out. I don't know. Let's see here. I see it. There it is. It's interesting times indeed, seeing how the other OEMs are reacting to Tesla in the EV space. Historians will be writing about this 100 years from now. Absolutely. And I understand the logic these folks are applying. Is like, hey, these folks make millions of cars a year. They know what they're doing. And all you're doing is swapping out a fuel tank and gas engine for a transmission for a big battery and one or more electric motors. And when you look at how the traditional automakers handle it, especially like way back in the day with my Chevy Volt and the Nissan Leaf, they run them in just like, actually Tesla did this for a while too. They run them in just like a regular. They got the chassis floating above, they got the powertrain underneath, and they marry them together, and so literally it looked like they were ready. And I don't know what the holdup is. I mean, yeah, it's hard for them to get parts now. It's hard for them to get batteries now because a lot of them still aren't making their own batteries. But when you think the common sense way, it's like, oh, they've been making cars for millions of cars for a long time. They know what they're doing. They can do this. So it leads you to believe either they don't know what they're doing, or it's not as easy as one would think to just kind of switch it out. We're kind of seeing this with Volkswagen right now. They were being pushed to change by Herbert Diess, and they didn't like the way that he was pushing them, so they let him go. And they're still moving to EVs because in all of their markets they have a deadline for when they can't make any more fossil cars, and it'll be interesting to see how their approach changes with this new guy. And he's not new; he's the CEO of Porsche, but uh, Porsche is about to go do their IPO, and that's very distracting. As well as at that point, then he'll be CEO of two different companies. That it's they've got a lot of challenges ahead at VW, and I'm curious to see where Herbert shows up. I actually kind of hopeful to see it be at Tesla, assuming that he gets to do like a Gwen Shotwell type role. That's what I would like to see. Let's see. Then I have Tesla also reports that the Ford CEO offers additional details on the company's EV plans. So let's see their summary here. Uh, Pictured here is a Ford Lightning on the construction on the assembly line. So here we can see the body, and they're about to pick it up and marry in the battery and motors. Actually, they wouldn't. They just marry it to the sled because it's body on frame, so they put it on the frame. So let's see. Jim Farley plans to be building profitable EVs in 4 years. Okay, so they're taking the Toyota approach of losing money up front, which is perfectly fine. You just have to do your planning correctly. Analysts have been questioning Ford's efforts on the EV side. Well, analysts don't know jack about cars, it seems. They've been wrong about Tesla for over 12 years, and it seems that they've never driven an EV for most of them. So, and those that have driven them, it seems that they haven't charged them. So it's like they go on a test drive. And anyway, in response, Farley looked to settle concerns during Ford's Q2 earnings call. noted the company's rethinking how they develop vehicles and how it keeps them fresh each year. Yeah, because the Model S is essentially unchanged for since 2012. It's had a bunch of major changes. Yes, I understand. The shape is the same. The style is the same. They've had a little couple tweaks here and there with the body panels, the nose cone, tail lights, but uh, they didn't have to do fins every year. They didn't have to do that thing like my Volts. Like, oh, we added a new feature in software. You can't have it. You can't pay for it. You got to buy a whole new car. I was like, they're lucky that my first one was lemon. Well, not really fully lemon, but like partially lemon. Gave me a really good deal on trading it for another one. I should have kept it, but oh well. Because the next one was the first one had everything go wrong in front of the firewall, and the second one had everything go wrong behind the firewall. Anyway, let's see. We have an opportunity to go digital with these EVs to simplify our body engineering and to put engineering where customers really care. And it's not a different vendor, it's software, it's digital display technologies, self-driving system of the autonomous vehicle tech. And of course, it's going to be, in some cases, more powerful motors. All right, so it looks like they're going to skip redesigns. That's fine. I mean, it's not their style, but I mean, Tesla's proven that it worked. You can keep a model out there for way longer than normal. Nissan used to be one of the ones that had really long body cycles before, at like 6 to 7 years. But Tesla's got them beat at like 10 years, 10 years on the same basic shape. uh, let's see. The current dealer model is a $2,000 disadvantage to Tesla per vehicle. He's mentioned this several times, so that's good to see they're going to be doing something about that. Um, of course, the folks that like to go in and haggle, they are not going to like this. The dealers are definitely not going to like this. Again, another reason why I think that Ford Blue is going to be where they just shove everything and they say, oh, yeah, all your agreements are with Ford Blue, not Model E. And then they'll give the company a name that's not stupid. Model E is not a good name for a company. it's like, what do they do? Oh, it's a car company. Okay. Let's see. So Ford's lowering dealer inventories. It's easy to do when it's hard to keep the cars on the lot. And clients can buy their vehicle online, and with the dealer completing the delivery and providing the service after the sale, what little service is needed. He believes this will change. This change will keep dealers profitable and reduce the competitive disadvantage that Ford is facing. I don't know how that keeps dealers profitable. Their service volume is going to go down. They won't be able to mark up the cars. They'll get their little vig when the car goes through, which is not small by any means. We'll have to watch and see what happens with Ford with this. Let's see if there's any comments. No comments. Next. So this one's kind of on topic. Why do we want to electrify all the things? Stuff like this. This is coming from Futurism on Microsoft. Scientists have warned of devastating mass extinction event caused by climate change. And I understand that, as we've discussed several times on all the various platforms I'm on, yes, for most people, saving the jungle is not their primary reason for purchasing an EV, but for most people, that is a nice little added little bonus on top of whatever reasons that they have chosen for why they bought this product. Not all. Some of them would rather do this while getting their other benefits from their EV, but let's see. So coming from Science Alert. So it wasn't really about like exactly what and when they were producing because they've been right on some stuff, they've been off on some stuff, they've been wrong on others, and a lot of people like to point out and say, "Oh, hey, look, we're not this bad yet." It's like, well, that doesn't mean they were wrong. It means that people listened and actually did some changes to make things better. And why are you happy that they were wrong? um, or not? Yeah, you should be happy that they were wrong, but why are you gloating that they were wrong? Um, you should be happy that the worst that they predicted didn't come to pass, but you shouldn't say that. See, that means they'll never be right. and the people that like to do this never catch on to that. Then there was another article in Hot Cars, also on MSN, or whatever they call themselves today. They say, here's why the Model Y is the fastest selling used car in the US. Well, it's also the fastest selling electric car, period. So why would that not hold if you can find a used one? So they came to say, for these reasons, it's safe, it's American made, high performance with impressive range, it's feature loaded in a practical cabin. All these things we already knew. But it's always kind of nice to see uh, the broader media uh, realizing these things without just bashing on electric cars or Tesla or whatever. All right, so we got this one is from the Register, also on Microsoft. It's about Starlink. So SpaceX has upgraded Starlink to reflect less light and can't launch without Starship. This is true because Starlink 2.0 is large and heavy, and it doesn't fit in the Falcon 9. So I'm curious how quickly. I'm wondering if the demo flight, instead of being a demo flight, they'll attempt to actually use it to launch the satellites into space, even if the booster and the ship don't actually come back, but they might kind of go up, work out the Pez dispenser. Uh, they call it the Pez dispenser because the Starlink and Starlink 2.0 satellites are really flat and rectangular, and rather than opening a bay or popping a nose cone like they do now, um, and letting them kind of just flutter out, it's going to be literally like a Pez dispenser. They'll have stacks of satellites and they'll all spit out the hole and go out into space. That'll be fun. So let's take a look at some of these. This one I did read. Ning, you just ate. She makes up a word for milk called Ning. She also says the word milk if you're not responding to Ning. All right, so we had all the people complaining. Well, not all the people, but a couple of the astronomers that couldn't be bothered to use their filters to with ground-based satellites. They couldn't be bothered to use their filters to remove the uh, the satellite trains because when Starlink launches, it kind of is like a little train of satellites. And some astronomers I've talked with, they're like, yeah, it's easy. You just pop, 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 and it's done. It sounds like a lot of hard math to me, but they say it's just built into their software controlling the telescopes or their imaging. I don't know if the others are either amateurs or they're lazy or they don't have the software or what, but those ones were complaining the loudest about how bright the Starlink is in the sky, and so SpaceX has been doing things to adjust how visible they are. They've taken it to a whole new level with Starlink 2.0. So let's see what they've got. They catch the sun's light and reflect it, blah, blah, blah. That's the old ones, and that's the complaint. Um, so the upgraded satellites are equipped with 3 new tech. The company said that they've got, for the brightness mitigation, they've got a dielectric mirror film. So the bottom of the satellite is going to now have basically a one-way tint on it, which will help. The solar array, they're going to do some stuff with the solar array to make it not reflect as much. Probably just the way they deploy it, tilt it, and everything. They've been doing that on the 1 series satellites. And let's see, and then good old fashioned black paint. So that's the other thing they're going to do. They're going to paint them black now. It will make them a little warmer, but it'll be worth it to stop the complaints apparently. So the film will cut the observed brightness by 10 times, and SpaceX says that SpaceX claims, and they'll cover the bottom of the satellites. In addition, it'll offer the film as a product to other satellite operators at cost to increase brightness reduction elsewhere. Yeah, because it's not just Starlink, but because there are so many Starlink that they're the ones who get the bulk of the complaints. When you're launching, was it 40 to 60 satellites at a pop, and then about to rise whenever Starlink happens? It kind of goes to show. I mean, literally, they've launched more launches this year than there were weeks in the year, and it's got to continue. So that was Starlink. Right, next up, we've got this one was interesting and it had a lot of discussion about it. Let's do the Teslarati side. I also had it on Microsoft. All right, so GM is going to void the warranties of flipped vehicles to combat price gouging. And so these are not people who thought that they could off-road and didn't know what they were doing and rolled the vehicles over. No, not that kind of flip. We're talking the price gouging flip. Remember I told you guys the stories of the $300,000 Hummers for sale, even though they only cost $112,000 new. Only. Uh, that's 3x, you know? And so GM is basically, they're going to void the warranties on those folks. And that makes it a little bit harder. Like, people will pay more to get it now, but do you want to pay more for something brand new that's going to break, that needs warranty work? From a company that only builds 12 a week? Nah. And so there will still be some people who will do it. Maybe people who are planning to reflip it or uh, have never had to get warranty work done on a car before. But let's see. This letter sent from GM North America President Steve Carlisle to dealers outlines that bumper-to-bumper, powertrain, EV propulsion system, sheet metal, tire, and accessory warranties will be removed from vehicles that are resold too quickly after the initial sale. And this isn't the first time this has happened. There have been other companies, including GM, that have done this on popular cars in the past. They don't do it often. And then you've got Ford and Tesla basically making you uh, agree not to flip their cars. It looks like GM doesn't want to kind of get that down in the paperwork to make you agree not to flip them. They just want to make it unappealing to do. Like, yeah, you can do it if you want. Good luck to the next customer. Um, let's see. Marcus at High Voltage Racing says that's good to know to keep crazy money out of the way and some out the way some. Yes, absolutely, I agree. This will work, and I don't mind. You know, like I said, the small time, like, hey, if you can afford two cars and you bought two and you sold one, that's fine. If you bought 10 and you don't plan on driving any and you're not a dealer, screw you, guy. Especially, I mean, it's fine if you're selling it anywhere near MSRP, but most of these folks, they are just making a ridiculous markup. So yeah, I stand by that statement. The message from Carlisle states, when vehicles are resold, quickly resold, particularly by unauthorized dealers and other resellers that do not adhere to GM standards, the customer experience suffers and GM's brands are damaged. Absolutely. But also GM can't make any of that money. Let's see. The report stated that dealers who take part in this practice will be restricted from placing orders or reservations on some high-demand vehicles in the future. So very much like we saw with Ford's threats to their dealers on marking up the Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E. Let's see. The announcement comes ahead of many key product launches for GM brands, including the Silverado, Equinox, and Blazer. The Corvette Z06 will start deliveries. I think the fact they're keeping that name means that's not the electric one. I think it's the last gas one, probably. Cadillac Escalade V. Huh, I thought they canceled the CTS V, but not the Escalade V. Huh? Due to high demand and supply constraints that have rattled the industry for the past year, each of these vehicles could easily be targeted by dealers and private sellers to make a quick buck. Yeah, we've seen this before. Folks doubling the price of the car at their dealer markup, their dealer adjustment fee. The truck is $79,000, and oh, by the way, our dealer adjustment fee is $78,000 or $80,000. Like, come on, guys, this is brazen. And it's good to see that the manufacturers are stepping in to protect the customers and their image, but mostly the customers. I don't care about them protecting their image in this case. The announcement poses a serious question for brands and owners. Do owners of vehicles have the right to sell the vehicles they own whenever they please? On paper, yeah, but like I keep saying, it's not the folks that have one or two cars the problem. It's the ones that, let me buy a whole shipment of Model S plaids and then sell them for 50,000 over the price. Come on, guy, come on. Manufacturers likely face this and many more questions in the coming months as demand for EVs continues to be flipped and sold for. As in-demand EVs continue to be flipped and sold for exorbitant amounts. Yeah. I'll see what everybody says. Yeah. One person was angry at it. Let's see what they say. Remember when the media laughed at Tesla for taking 9 months to reach 5,000 Model 3s per week? They said GM, Ford, the expert. This was what I just said in the other article. Would have flipped the switch and be at full production. GM Hummer EV. Yeah, absolutely. Vehicles way more niche than anything Tesla offers.
Morningside by Neil Diamond from Starlink.
Whoa, no. Alexa, stop. Echo, stop. I don't want to play Neil Diamond on the speaker. One, I don't listen to him anyway. And two, I'm not paying for his music because he'd get me ripped off the air, buddy. Nothing against Neil Diamond. It's just not somebody I listen to. I definitely don't want to pay for you guys to listen to him. And I'm not sure you guys come here to listen to music. You come here to listen to us talk about EVs and the environment and stuff. So it's off topic. Smart speakers. I don't like the Google went off. You might have heard that in my headphones because it's Bluetooth. And then the Amazon went off. It was like they both heard something different. Anyway, back on track. This person thinks it's a shady tactic by GM. They almost certainly couldn't care less about the flipping of their vehicles. Some brainstorm came up with this gimmick to dispense with the impending warranty claims, which will most certainly be a major cost to GM as they dabble with this new technology. I don't. There's certainly an element of this. I don't think that was their primary reason, but I'm sure they were looking at somebody did the math and said, "Hey, look, there's so many thousands of dollars we could save per Hummer EV if we just nuke the warranty." But you can't nuke the warranty on something you've contracted yourself to. But you don't have a contract with the other people. So this guy says Tesla are also dealing with flippers. Yes, they are. I mentioned Ford. Ford is too. This person asked how many Bolt EVs did they sell in the last year. Yeah, the Bolt is they didn't sell very many of them last year, but they're not usually targets of being flipped at all. All right, let's move on to something fresh, like power utilities and BMW, Elon Musk, Tesla stocks, the DMV. I don't think we need to talk about that one, so we'll skip. All right, so this one here. Florida's most powerful utility reportedly paid a news site to spread propaganda. We don't really necessarily need the reportedly. We've seen the propaganda. What's not surprising, if this allegations are correct, is that these guys were behind it. These are the same groups that paid for the Protect the Sunshine Act to try and get passed, and then some other run-up this year that thankfully also failed, where the power companies are trying to make it illegal for Floridians to put solar panels on their houses and be attached to the grid, which is just... I mean, it's called the Sunshine State, and you want to make it so that it's illegal to put solar panels on your house. Greed knows no bounds. So Florida's largest utility company funneled money to a news website, which it then used to defend the utility's position and attack critics. Two bombshell reports have found. Leaked documents are found both by the Orlando Sentinel and the Miami Herald. Those are decent newspapers. Of a portrait of how Florida Power and Light executives used consultants and shell companies to get pro-utility articles and hit pieces against political enemies published on a local Florida news website, says the Capitalists. I mean, even if they turn out to be false, it might just be these incidents that are sort of false. There's FPL is they don't seem to have a limit to where they'll stoop. We did have an article recently where they were raising the minimum rates on folks who were on fixed incomes because they weren't spending enough on electricity. Their goal was to punish solar panel owners because they don't use much electricity. but all they ended up doing was hitting people on fixed incomes, because for them, doubling the electric price, saying, "Hey, you must buy this much electricity," was much harder on them than the folks who could afford the solar panels. Saying, "Oh, now your new minimum bill is going from $6 to $50. $50 is still super annoying, but you've got the solar. Depending on if you can condemn a house without electricity there, especially if they've got batteries, it's fine. Just pull the meter. I don't care. Send me the collections. I'm not going to pay it." And now I've got an off-grid house. However, because in most places it's illegal to pull the power and sustain it, but if they pull the power, I'm curious how that would work out. Uh, Again, it depends on if they can condemn you and whatnot. But I'm petty. I'll fight. I'll fight somebody who comes at me like that. My power company is constantly trying to get me to pull three solar panels off my house. I've got a gesture for them. It's not very appropriate for this show. And they're the ones who approved it. And I still have an electric bill. My tenant still has an electric bill. They can go pound sand. My utility isn't FPL. They're the same utility for this place, Dominion Power. It didn't used to be. They came in and swooped in and lied to the voters and the government about what would happen with the losses they would be buying up with the failed nuclear plant in South Carolina. And so basically, South Carolina was going to build a new nuclear plant. They dug a really expensive $9 billion hole, ran out of business, filled it back in, and then sold themselves to Dominion Power. And Dominion Power was lying the whole time. Go figure. Anyway, before I say something I'll regret about power companies, let's move on to BMW owners allegedly stealing back their heated seats. Uh, BMW would like to point out that something like 80 to 90% of their cars in America ship with heated seats on all the time by default anyway. So they feel that this is unwarranted backlash against their greed. So they are still doing it. They didn't say we don't do it. They just said it doesn't affect most people, which is, I think, a worse argument. So let's see. So basically, what's happening here is BMW tried to pull a Tesla, and they have turned on that you can subscribe to a package that includes heated seats, but not just heated seats. But my understanding is in other countries, it is literally, I want heated seats for $18 a month. So they're playing the PR twist the words game. Anyway, let's see what MSN and whoever wrote the article for MSN is saying slash gear. Let's see. The software update included plenty of enhancements that also contained something that irked some of his clientele: a bigger emphasis on microtransactions. BMW Connected Drive Store started to deliver functions on demand, including the otherwise locked features on like adaptive M suspension, simulated exhaust sounds, and of course, heated seats. So, I mean, from what I hear out here on this racetrack of a street, BMW drivers would like you to hear them drive, unless they bought it for the luxury. And so I don't understand why they even bothered to put the speaker on the outside. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Put the speaker on the inside, and then make them blow bubbles on themselves. They'll sound great, and they'll enjoy it. They'll be happy. If you put them on the outside, you just annoy everybody else. And thankfully, they're charging them for the pleasure. The suspension, I mean, that's something that I would pay for. Even I don't know that I would pay monthly for the suspension. I would try and make sure it was just built into the car. Yeah, I've got adaptive suspension on the X. It's not at all as advanced as this or the new Model X. Let's see, and of course the heated seats. That we know nobody's happy about the heated seats because we've been hearing about it for months now. I don't know why it came back. It went away for weeks and then it came back. So let's see. Is this a BMW? Let's hope they don't use music.
Remote software.
They have music and screaming. So they're basically saying purchase an upgrade for the Connected Drive Store. This would be great for used cars, and if it was like Tesla, where once you buy it, it's kind of there. Um, I would also wonder if they would pull a Tesla and start removing some features when it came back to a BMW. Like, oh yeah, no, this didn't have full self-driving or heated seats. Yeah, click. I could totally see them doing that because the dealer would love to charge you for it again. The thing is, though, since BMW is selling it, I think the dealer would actually prefer to just leave it on and say, hey, it's got this. We can add an extra $10 to the price or whatever for this feature, while giving the original owner nothing for the bonus. Yeah. So anyway, BMW hackers are bringing back the heat. Let's see. This is where Litchfield Motors comes in. Litchfield Motors is an auto performance center in the UK that tunes and upgrades vehicles. Oh, so these like the chip kits that you get on regular fossil cars? So you can get Apple CarPlay. Okay. You can unlock features that are not exactly legal, such as enabling the car's ability to play content on the TV screens while the vehicle's in motion. Okay, so that's not so cool. So this sounds a lot like they actually have some of this for Teslas as well, and they'll allow you to like do stuff with the windows, and it will control something else, or on the Model 3 standard base model, whatever they're calling it this week, where it doesn't have the heated rear seats. They're there, but you got to pay to unlock them. You pay once, you don't pay monthly. Uh, so actually, I think Tesla did this first. Um, there are companies that do the same thing where you can buy a kit to get it unlocked. I'm not going to talk about stealing software, stealing hardware. Uh, I say stealing because you're obtaining goods and services without paying for them. But at the same time, you bought the car. Yes, I understand that. But at the same time, you also bought the IBM mainframe with the extra 3 processors, and you only used one. And then when you wanted more, you had to pay them to turn on the other 3. What would have been bad is if IBM was then mining bitcoins in the background with your other 3 processors and your electricity. But that didn't happen. They just sat there off, wasted silicon. So, what do y'all think about that? Like the idea of the monthly features or the unlockables. I think as long as it's reasonable price and they're not feeling like you're being nickel and dimed. But say that a lot of the EV community is already used to it. As I mentioned with the Model 3 standard range, you could unlock the heated rear seats. You could unlock a bunch of stuff. We had performance unlocks that were both free and paid on Tesla. We've got full self-driving, enhanced autopilot. I mentioned speed boost. We've got rentals. We've got radio. Well, radio kind of makes sense. Everybody pays for radio uh, everywhere else anyway. Not radio, but like satellite radio or the cellular connections in their cars. Like OnStar, not really a satellite. It's actually cellular service. Uh, so then Tesla had their annual meeting, and the good news, 3-for-1 split. So if you have 5 shares of Tesla today, on the close date, you'll wake up and find that you have 15 shares. Their price will have dropped by a third as well. So if you had $1,000 before, you'll still have $1,000 after. And I realize these numbers don't jive at all. Just keep it easy. You won't have $3,000 in Tesla stock when the split happens. You'll still have 1,000, but you'll have 3 more uh, shares per each share that you had before. What this does is it allows the employees and the other folks who have to buy whole shares that can't really afford the whole shares. Uh, it allows them to participate. It also makes it for the folks who have the mental mindset of I don't buy partial shares. I don't buy partial shares. They can now participate. You can have more. You can reach more people that way. Elon also mentioned a bunch of things they might do now that they are just flush with cash because they aren't really taking on too many new loans. They're paying off old loans faster than they need to, and so they're kind of flush with cash. And they talked about things they could do like paying a dividend or stock buybacks, and Elon seemed to be leaning more towards stock buybacks maybe sometime next year. He'll probably find something to spend the money on instead, but we'll see what happens. Zachary says hello. Hi, everyone. Yes. And then one of the other things he brought up was the Cybertruck. We knew this was going to happen. Trevor Page of Model 3 Owners Club. What is he going by now? I think he's just going by Trevor Page now. He read through the agreement and noticed that the price wasn't fixed, and he said, hey, they're probably not gonna honor that price that was on your page. And Elon said they very unlikely to be able to do that. So it sounds like that. Let me find another article. I've got this Microsoft one, but it's from a stock place. They don't know anything about cars. They've proven it time and time again. Here, let's take this one. So this is coming from Drive Tesla, and see how they summarized his. It wasn't really much of a ramble, but it was not. He said Cybertruck pricing. It was unveiled in 2019, and the reservation was $99. A lot has changed since then, so the specs and pricing will be different. I hate to give sort of a little bit of bad news, but there's no way to sort of anticipate the inflation that we've seen and the various issues. Thanks, Elon. Kind of floating around. He did get the point out there, but man, he didn't want to say it. Uh, Initially in 2019, Cybertruck was going to have 3 trims: the single motor rear-wheel drive at $39,900, the dual motor all-wheel drive at $49,900, and the tri-motor at $69,900. Even at the time, it was cheaper than the Model Y, and today it's just like these prices look like a joke. Well, they are. So that wasn't the plan, but the truck is so late that they have to deal with the current prices, not what they were hoping to do when they unveiled it. So let's see. The specs were impressive: 250, 300, and 500 mile range. I hope those stay or get better. 3,500 pound payload or more. Towing rated between 7,500 to 14,000 pounds. I hope these get better as well. 250 kilowatt charging. We know that's not going to be that low because the Supercharger V3 is already getting an update. And Elon touched on, but did not give us any details on Supercharger V4. So we actually know more than what he said based on all the Tesla filings that we've discussed here. Let's see, 100 cubic feet of exterior storage, 110 and 220 volt onboard outlets. I guess over in Europe, they would only have 220, 240. And over there is a distinction of 220 and 240. That's why you get 230, because they split the difference. Over here, elsewhere, though, it's just 120. It's not actually 110. 110 is the minimum. It's the old one. Full self-driving features optional, of course, and Autopilot as standard. However, we've not seen updated specs or pricing since that original 2019 launch. It's the Tesla way. Here's what we're looking at, and they come back out a couple years later, and ooh, look at this, we beat it. Even though they probably sandbagging to begin with. All right, so no comments on that. Let me try something here. I want to see my Cybertruck reservation. No, I don't, because it's got the number on it and all that. So basically, my Cybertruck reservation still says, which one I ordered. Still says I picked the full self-driving, and still offers to give back the money, which I still think that even if I don't keep it, it would make sense to get the truck. So we're looking at the. Oh, I loaded up the article and didn't share it with you guys. Sorry. There it is. So this is the one we saw at the Gigafactory. It had the Mega Wiper. Didn't have the wheel covers. I would probably not put the wheel covers on my own. Didn't have the door handles. Had the mirror. He says Cybertruck has more excuses than Rivian at this point. um, I wouldn't necessarily say that. It just literally was not a priority for them. Like their best-selling car that they planned is the Model Y, and they're doing focus on that. I mean, they just built two new factories that build only Model Y. The Cybertruck will be built out of the Austin factory, but uh, they didn't put that feature in there yet. It was just kind of an empty space. Uh, they've got the GigaPress is going in, and they've got tooling getting started. So they're finally moving on this thing. But Elon seems to think that the middle of next year will be ready. We'll see. Not holding my breath because Elon doesn't know how to read a timepiece. He doesn't know how to read a calendar. He doesn't know how to read a clock. Um, he runs on his own timeline, and I understand that basically, really, what he says this is that he doesn't give us the curated, public friendly timeline. He gives us the same timeline that he's giving to his people through Twitter, so they find out at the same time that we do that. Oh yeah, the full self drive update will be ready next week. We'll see. Uh, they don't seem to listen to him when he's not emailing them. Oh yeah, it's gonna be this, and then they just ignore it together. So that's the disappointing and exciting bits of the Cybertruck news. And so speculation is that there will be no single motor. We'll see. We know there's going to be a quad motor because Elon told us so, and we'll see what happens. All right, what do we got next? This one. So the California DMV has accused Tesla of falsely advertising full self-driving and autopilot features, which is BS because let's do this. Again, I learned the shortcut just to click out and click back in. I'll type in that window. I'll type in this window. Try to drive me batty. All right, so let's go to Tesla real quick, and then let's go to Model X. Good evening, Anders. From Stockholm, Sweden at 8:07. And Keith says the a bitter X syndrome, and I agree. And that's probably exactly what it is. Because Tesla pulled out of California as far as their headquarters, and they're not putting any real new stuff in California. They haven't closed any plants, but their politicians seem upset, even though they were the ones that pushed Elon to take his toys and go home. 2 weeks and we're good. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's go to we're buying a new car, blah, 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 all the cool stuff. Freedom of travel. This wasn't meant to be a Tesla ad. Here we go. Autopilot. You get 360 rear side forward facing cameras, provide maximum visibility. I don't see any lies there. 250 meters of visual processing at 250 meters of range. All truth. Tesla Vision detects nearby cars and helps prevent potential collisions and assists with parking. It does that. Autopilot enables your car to steer, accelerate, and brake automatically within its lane under your active supervision, assisting with the most burdensome aspects of driving. Burdensome parts of driving. With over-the-air software updates, the latest enhancements are available instantly. No lies detected. Let's see. Features. Enhance autopilot and full self-driving capability. Introduce additional features and improve functionality to make your car more capable over time, including Auto Park. Navigate on autopilot. Active guidance from highway on-ramp to off-ramp. It's been doing that for a couple of years now. Very well. Auto lane change. Automatically change lanes while driving on the highway. It'll do that when I put on my blinker. It'll do that if it wants to pass slow cars. Summon. Automatically retrieve your car. Yep, in a straight line. Classic summon there, that works. Smart summon seems to be more of a party trick, but it works. And auto park, parallel and perpendicular parking with a single touch. Also works. All right, so let's click on order and see if they say anything more about autopilot, which I think they do. All right, so let's go down to feature details. Basic autopilot is included. With every new Tesla, Autopilot enables your car to steer, accelerate, brake automatically for other vehicles and pedestrians within its lane, there to assist with the most burdensome parts of driving. Autopilot works alongside features like emergency braking, collision, and warning, and blind spot monitoring. Can we get into this any further? No? All right, so let's go down to the full self-driving option and see if they give us more. Enhanced Autopilot, navigate Autopilot, auto lane change, auto park, summon, smart summon, feature details. While driving on the highway, automatic lane change will position your car in the optimal lane to prepare for merges and exits while overtaking slow cars. Drivers are given clear insights to upcoming lane changes as well as customization to auto lane change functionality. Not seeing anything here that says the car is autonomous. Navigate on Autopilot. Automatic driving from highway on-ramp to off-ramp. Includes automatic lane changes, traffic-aware cruise control, complete with stopping and re-engagement. Auto steer and overtaking cars, slow cars in your lane. All right. Auto park. Park with ease and parallel parking. Summon. Activated by... Oh, this is smart summon. Activated by the Tesla app, your car will come and find you and even park or unpark itself in tight spaces. Summon navigates complex parking situations while abiding by lane... Yeah, right. lane markings and stop signs, avoiding pedestrians and obstacles like traffic cones, trash bins, and rogue shopping carts. Okay, so I do detect one exaggeration right here. The car does not always abide by lane markings in summon, but it is always looking for them. So if it sees something that says stop, it will stop before crossing the intersection. If it sees something that it clearly shouldn't be passing, it does obey that. But I have seen it go the wrong way down an aisle. Okay, so let's go from there to full self-driving capability. All the functionality of basic autopilot and enhanced autopilot with traffic light and stop sign control. Coming soon. This has always been the part. Coming soon. Auto steer on city streets. The currently enabled features require active driver supervision and do not make the vehicle autonomous. The activation of these features are dependent on achieving reliability far in excess of human drivers, as demonstrated by billions of miles of experience, as well as regulatory approval, which may take longer in some jurisdictions. As these self-driving features evolve, your car will be continuously upgraded through over-the-air software updates. No lies detected. All right, so this is the same one. Since the price has changed. Oh, here we go. Traffic light and stop sign control. It's designed to slow down and stop for visible traffic lights or stop signs that are detected when traffic-aware cruise control or auto steer is engaged. And the folks in Germany who said that this didn't work, in Germany, the car should be stopping for every light, green or otherwise. So I don't know what her issue was. Except for if she didn't have FSD, then it would run, because that's what it would do. It would just go straight through, because they didn't sell you this. And then you get the full self-driving computer. All right, let's see. High voltage racing and performance. Lemon character and Baby Lemon blowing a party horn while marching. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so let's do something a little different here. I've got another window open. Let me find it. Oh, I minimized it because I wanted the desktop space. The good thing is, I've got it right on top. So we'll minimize it again, and we'll put it in up here. All right, so yes, I was looking at the towing. This is the manual for my car. All right, about Autopilot. Camera mounted above the license plate, ultrasonic sensors, camera mounted in the door pillars, 3 cameras on the windshield, camera mounted to each fender, and my car is old, so I've got a radar mounted behind the front bumper, but it doesn't do anything because I'm in the FSD beta program, and it has been removed from the equation. It is still on, and it is still sending data to Tesla, but it's not working for me. Note, ensure all cameras and sensors, if equipped, are clean before each drive. See cleaning cameras and sensors for more information. Dirty cameras and sensors, as well as environmental conditions and rain and faded markings, can affect autopilot performance. Sounds like they're saying its capabilities right there. You've got active safety features of lane assist. That's the one where if you're not paying attention or if the car thinks you're not being smart, it will kind of try and steer you back into the lane that feels like you've driven into a rut. But you can always drive out of it, same way you would drive out of a rut. Let's see. Collision avoidance assist. Yeah, that's the one that I keep saying sounds like mouse farts when you're trying to run over people who've been camped out in blind spots, like motorcyclists and quiet cars. Speed assist. What is speed assist again? I don't remember. You can enable or disable the features in some cases, control how they work. To access settings for these features, go to Controls and then Autopilot. Depending on your market region, vehicle configuration options purchased, and your software version, your vehicle may or may not be equipped with all the features listed below, or a feature may not operate as exactly as described. Yeah, because I've got FSD. Beta. These autopilot convenience features are designed to reduce driver workload. Reduce your workload, not drive for you. Traffic-aware cruise control, auto steer, auto lane change, auto park, summon, smart summon, stoplight and stop sign, warning. That's different than control. Yes, I have seen the warning. I was going through a light. The car thought it would be turning red. It was not, because it was an intersection with a long yellow, and I pushed through it, and it yelled at me, beep, 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 and flashing the light and all that. And then you've got traffic light and stop sign control, which is a part of the full self-driving package, where it will stop at every traffic light and stop sign, and then if it's still engaged, if it thinks it's clear, it'll start to go. But you as the driver need to make sure it's actually clear. All right, so you'll drive to calibrate the cameras. Limitations. Many factors can, in fact, impact the performance of autopilot components, causing them to be unable to function as intended. This include, but are not limited to, poor visibility, bright light due to oncoming headlights, direct sunlight, etc., damage or obstructions caused by mud, ice, or snow, interference or obstruction by objects mounted onto the vehicle, such as a bike rack, obstruction by applying excessive paint or adhesive products such as wraps, stickers, rubber coatings, etc., onto the vehicle, narrow or winding roads, yeah, damaged or misaligned body panel, the use of gray or aftermarket auto glass. So that's another reason why if your insurance company wants to use non-Tesla glass, you need to tell them to go pound sand and give you OEM parts, because they are going to break your car. Let's see, interference from other equipment that generates ultrasonic waves. Yeah, that would be bad. Extremely hot or cold temperatures. If a windshield replacement is needed, take your vehicle to Tesla service. This ensures appropriate handling and mounting of cameras. Failure to do so can cause one or more autopilot features to malfunction. Now, on that, they've got some authorized dealers, such as SafeLight, that can replace the window. And now that you, the owner, can manually push the recalibrate cameras button, the car will then do a calibration drive. Well, you'll drive, it will watch you drive, and then it'll calibrate. If it fails, it'll ask for service. Warning, the above list does not represent an exhaustive list of situations that may interfere with the proper operation of autopilot components. Never depend on these components to keep you safe. It is the driver's responsibility to stay alert. Right here. It is the driver's responsibility to stay alert, drive safely, and be in control of the vehicle at all times. So this line will be removed whenever it really is self-driving, rather than just a marketing term. Advanced safety features may not be available during the calibration period. Recalibrating the cameras with sensors on the touchscreen is not a substitute for checking the physical positioning and condition of these components. Walk around your vehicle and inspect the cameras and sensors for physical damage. Incorrectly calibrated or positioned cameras or sensors may limit or disable the use of safety features. Contact Tesla if you're suspecting lingering issues. So in my case, my driver's pillar camera had a crushed connector from the factory, so certain weather conditions would cause it to just disappear. And then I'd be in full manual drive, no cruise control, no, actually nothing, but the car would show me stuff and then not act on it because it couldn't be sure of its state. And Tesla replaced my camera harnesses. They replaced the rear camera and that camera that had the crush connector previously. but they didn't actually solve the problem. So then, as a final deal, they replaced that particular harness, and the problem has been going ever since. Basically, the problem was every now and then the car would just act like it was blind because it was missing one of 8 cameras. And the other thing you get is, aside from the manual and the sales page and the salespeople, you get, every time you go turn on autopilot, auto steer, full self-driving, cruise control, the car tells you, hey, it's not self-driving, pay attention, hold the wheel. It even shows you an icon of, hey, here's how you should hold the wheel, or here's how you should hold your yoke, if it's a car that came from the factory with a yoke. So all these people just clutching their pearls about, oh my goodness, Tesla is lying about full self-driving. Oh my goodness. If you don't own it, that's they're not talking to you. It's an advertisement. Everybody puffs stuff up when they advertise. And then, of course, underneath you get the fine print. And they had the fine print. So the complaint that the DMV has noted that Tesla made or disseminated statements that are untrue or misleading and not based on facts. Which ones? Although we've not seen the entire complaint, when asked by the LA Times for comment, the DMV spokesperson said this about what happens if their complaint succeeds. The DMV will ask Tesla to be required to advertise to customers and better educate Tesla drivers about the capability of autopilot and full self-driving features. I mean, what more can you tell me than what you've already told me in the manual, on the screen, and when you sold the stuff to me, and when you sold the stuff to everybody you sold it to after me? It wasn't hard to understand. Including cautionary warnings regarding limitations of the features and for other actions as appropriate when given the violations. I mean, the new cars have cameras inside. They're watching you. So if you're diddling on your phone, they're gonna put you in timeout. If you're in FSD beta, you get like 1 or 3 times of that. It's really 3 to 5 times depending on what software you're on. But the car starts counting them so quick that just one session on your phone is enough to get you kicked out of the program. And it's also an option to kill somebody. So yeah, don't text and drive. Don't be on your phone. Be driving. Be driving if you're driving. And if you're training the car, just like if you're training a human to drive, you don't want to be messing around on your phone while this teenager is or late driver is trying to work their way around the world. You need to be watching for stuff that's common that you know that they may mess up or may not see. Same thing goes for the car in FSD beta, but that's not even what they're arguing about here. They're arguing about the one that's like the public version. So in that case, Tesla's already said, hey, this is to take a load off you. You need to still drive. I mean, I don't think it gets any harder to understand than that. So they want us to be more cautionary warnings regarding the limitations of the features and other actions as appropriate when as appropriate given the violations. I mean, on my car, I don't have a camera that Tesla can use to look at me. I've got a camera in there looking at me, but it's not, Tesla didn't put it there. On my car, it's checking to see if I'm like holding the wheel. And I mean, they're not the only ones with just that as a system. A lot of the new cars have, just like Tesla, they've got a system watching you watch the road. But some of them still are putting out new cars that only make sure that you either capacitively touch or torque on the wheel. So you can't say it's not industry standard by any means. So anyway, Tesla for its stake has a disclaimer on its website about the Autopilot FSD that states, the currently enabled features require active driver supervision and do not make the vehicle autonomous. It's unclear when the Office of Administrative Hearings will hear the complaint. We don't have a timeline on when the Office of Administrative Hearings will hear the complaint. Tesla did provide a comment on the situation, or did not. It says they did, but I think it means they did not. Let me open this link and see if it is it did. Documented changes. App Store. I don't understand. That has nothing to do with the article. It's Omar! Hello, sir. What do you say about this? Saying the DMV wants to investigate Tesla over claims regarding autopilot.
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere.
It's based on nothing.
I mean, what you know what? They're going to investigate. And what they're going to do is they're going to look into it and then they're going to find, okay, there's nothing really here. There's no issue because, you
There's no
know,
there.
right. So that's
Right,
going nowhere.
right. So I mean that's where I was going next. I wanted to say, hey, I'm not opposed to the idea that the government is trying to actually keep us safe. I do feel that the complaint is based on BS and lies. But if they were to find something in there that was actually a safety hazard, yes, I would want them to address it and fix it. And if they found that the Tesla was lying about something or some software was malfunctioning, yes, I would want them to put a recall out there to fix it. Recall, software update.
Right.
But I think what is so annoying about this is that they've already presumed guilt and that they are not necessarily the organization, but the way this has been reported, the way it's been filed, presumes that people are not intelligent.
Well, you have to keep in mind a lot of the reporting on it is based off of the fact that, okay, Tesla is the the leader in this new thing that a lot of people are afraid of. And
Yeah.
people fear change, people fear new stuff, and Tesla is like the one that's really pushed the whole industry in this direction to something new. So the reporting is, okay, what's going to get the most clicks? What can I get the most eyeballs on? Um, look at this scary thing, you know.
Yes.
And so there's going to be a lot of FUD out there like, oh well, they're deceiving people because they're calling it full self-driving and it can't do that. It's clearly not capable of that.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
they're calling it autopilot and it's deceiving people and luring people into thinking that they don't have to pay attention. When clearly everything that Tesla puts out and everything they do is saying, hey, this is
pay attention.
beta, this is you have to pay attention. By the way, this is you're still in control, you're still the driver. It's not prime time yet to take a nap and wake up at your destination. We're not there. And the
Yeah.
car itself bugs you. You put it in the autopilot and the car constantly flashes the thing like touch the wheel, touch the wheel, touch the wheel, pay attention, and it constantly bugs you for that. So I mean, I don't see, no matter what they call it, it's what it's actually doing is auto steer and enhanced traffic aware cruise control. It's basically what it's doing.
Yep.
So
this is a 1958 Chrysler Autopilot brochure. Yes, Chrysler Autopilot, 1958. So this is what we today call cruise control, but they called it Auto-Pilot back then. Acclaimed by experts as one of the greatest automotive inventions ever developed. And we didn't stop calling it autopilot because people didn't understand that it wasn't the same thing as the one on the airplane, which you lock in a heading and a speed and it will keep it. No. We stopped calling it that because of the Kleenex effect. So everybody else called it cruise control. So if everybody else has cruise control and somebody says, hey, I want the cruise control, and then the dealer says, oh, well, we've got autopilot. I don't want autopilot. I want cruise control. So everybody calls it cruise control now. Only on 1958 Chryslers and Imperials.
exactly. So again, the whole thing is about semantics, and you want to play semantics as far as wording, fine grants, well, whatever. But the bottom line is, it's still it actually does what they say it does right now. If you actually read, what's presented to you before you use it and before you purchase it and everything, if you actually read all their little disclaimers and stuff, it does exactly what they say. So
because who out there goes out and drops 12 grand without reading the description of what you're buying?
I don't.
How rich are you? Oh man. So someone at DMV hasn't been to the website. There's no advertising about it. If they did, they would never tried it or never driven a Tesla. The car tells you what it can do if you have the subscription. And if they change the name, the other company won't have anything to complain about. Yeah, but they shouldn't have to change their name. I mean, yes, this would, and I don't even think this would actually end it, because then you'd have all the people saying, "Oh, I don't want to be part of a beta," blah blah blah. But yet you're out there with 14 and 17-year-olds learning to drive.
Well, the other thing is, so if they change the name, then that would give the validity to people to say, "See, I told you it was a problem. That's why they had to change the name."
They had to change the name because it was dangerous and
Nah.
people were stupid.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
That would be a bad move on their part. And I'm sure all their legal team and all their lawyers and everything that they have are well on top of this. And it's just, you know,
I also wouldn't be surprised to find out that all the other names that would make sense, that aren't like super generic, have been trademarked and patented by all of their competition. Oh, you want to call it steers in the lines? We got that. Oh, you want to call it keeps the speed? We got that. Pay us for every car.
Well, I think the auto industry as a whole is actually afraid of Tesla because of what they're doing, how they're doing it. Like, yeah, they can, you know, you can say what they will about it, but they're afraid because they look like they're on the precipice of actually being the first to achieve true, AI driven, not map driven and already out on special roads, but no, actual AI driven, autonomous driving, and they may be the first to do it. And if they are, everybody else is going to have to basically
buy it from them,
license their software, because everybody else is going to be left in the dust, and it's going to be, well, but can your car do this? Well, no, but we got
do you have that cruise control? Do you have cruise control? No, we got this. I don't want it.
Right. Exactly.
Oh man, so Timothy points out that that's right, guys. Sometimes I refer to YouTube, Twitter, as a lot of other media outlets as the clickbait industry. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as Omar said, you if you're running on advertising and you don't get the eyeballs, then you don't get the money. And if you don't get the money, then you go to business. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna do stuff to get the eyeball, like sell half the story. Problem is, the way that we have trained our folks to consume the news and the media, as well as the way we just structure their time so they don't have enough, is they'll read the headline and consider that they understand what's happening, rather than, what the heck did they mean by that? Why did they write that in the headline? Let me at least skim the article and see what's going on. No. Oh, I read the headline. That's all I need. Close. Oh,
right.
You've got
People don't read the stories. They don't actually read the whole story.
You don't even have to read most of these. You can just skim them and get the gist, and then realize, oh wait, I'm reading this too fast. It's not clicking together. I need to sit down, spend 15 minutes, and actually read this piece through and through. Or hey, this doesn't affect me at all. I'm not going to waste my time on it. But like, if you just read the headline, you don't know what's happening in today's world most of the time.
You're not getting the context at all if you're just reading the headline. And I've seen stories written so badly. It's like the headline was like almost nothing to do with what the thing actually said. And I mean, I've literally read articles where the headline says one thing and the article actually refutes everything that the headline says and does exactly the opposite. And it's like,
yeah, there was one that said nobody wants to work from home, and then like when you read the article, it was like everybody wants to work from home except 3 people. It's not that great, but it wasn't nobody. It was actually the majority wanted to work from home. You will see me read headline blurbs on here, but you'll also see that I do something that's a little more intuitive. Like if it's a headline that I'm expecting to come up, it's like, oh, SpaceX launched another batch of Starlink satellites. Okay, they launched another batch of Starlink satellites. Okay, that's all we need to know. Or the XYZ bill has finally passed. All right, so this bill has passed, and then I'll come back later and say, hey, did they change anything? Because we know our politicians love to just
but a lot of times that's a follow up on something. So that's like, okay, this is something we've already been aware of, already been discussing, and now you're looking at the headline, oh, this finally happened, and it's like, okay, we were already aware of that, so this is a follow-up. You might not need to go into detail on that.
Exactly. And then other times you will see me do that right there, like, oh, it says this. Let's dig into it and see what it's about. And then other times you'll see I don't actually care what's in the article. I want to discuss the concept in the headline, and I want to use that as a discussion piece. But I don't read the headline and assume, oh, well, this is exactly what happens. I'm like, you'll hear me say, hey, let's address what it says, not necessarily what actually happened, because I don't have time to read this particular article on some subject that we're not actually into. I want to discuss what are the societal impacts of what they claim just in the headline. And you'll see me do that all the time. But you won't see me read the headline and say, yeah, this is exactly what happened. I know everything about it. No. I might say that it sounds like this, but I won't want to sit there and commit to like, oh yeah, they're clubbing baby seals with this because it says so in the headline. That's a dangerous way to go about it. And it seems that a lot of these people who are afraid of autopilot and self-drive existing are doing that. I understand, like my parents, they won't try FSD, but they're not going to say, oh, you don't do it. My grandmother said, hey, please don't turn that on. I turned it on anyway. But again, I basically just said, hey, you just got to try it out. Here, it's a straight road. What could it possibly do? My hands are on the wheel. Come on, Grandma, try it out. She said, fine, I'll try it out, and turn it on. And then I just left it on. I was like, oh yeah, look, it's turning right here. She's like, oh, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was. Now, if she said, no, I would, okay, I'm not gonna freak her out. I'm not gonna just turn it on at all. But
see, it's scary when you don't.
Right, it's new
when
tech,
you don't know.
and
the unknown is scary to
this.
people,
Yeah.
and the unknown thing is, okay, if I turn this on, what is it going to do? Is it going to completely take control? Well, I can't control anything, and I'm not in control, and because people want to be in control.
Right.
So, yeah, you turn that on, but you're still in control. You still,
especially if you've ever been in a car crash or had friends who've been in a car crash. The idea of not having an experienced person behind the wheel, or not, being able to take over if there's a mistake. That part, I understand the fear and reticence in that. Like, I mean, even the first time I turned on my Volt, we had the lane keep awareness and the collision awareness. Like, literally, the car did nothing except for if it thought you were going to crash, it would turn off cruise control. And because I drove around in low everywhere, that actually would end up being a form of automatic braking for me, because the car thinks we're going to crash into somebody, it kills acceleration, and now I've got it in low, so it slows down a lot. But it was not lane keep. Like, it would just beep at you if you were drifting out of the lane. It wouldn't actually do anything about it. Whereas on the Tesla, with the same features, like I said, it feels like you're driving in a rut, like a carriage rut. Took your wheel, and you can steer out of it if you want to, but oftentimes it's correct. The only time I've had troubles with it are certain turns with poor paint. As I read to you, poor paint. The car's like, oh, you're taking this turn wrong. Let me help you. I'm like, no, I've got this turn. Other times, hey, I see some debris in the road, and I start to drift around it. And yes, I did leave the lane. So the car's like, get back in the lane. I'm like, hold on. Or maybe I drifted farther than I intended to. And then it's like, get back in the lane. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. But what I'm finding now with FSD is it actually just wants to drive around stuff on its own. So I'll see, if I see something that looks like could damage the tires or could be an obstacle, the car is already like. The other day we were passing we were leaving a restaurant, and fast food restaurant, obviously, because with the new normal, we're not sitting down to eat anywhere inside. Anyway, so there's a bush that was unkept, and it wasn't trimmed, and it was hanging into the road. And I personally probably would have drove through it and been mad that they were scratching my stuff. The car's like, it drove around. I was like, hey, yeah, that's probably what I wanted to do anyway. And that was pretty cool.
well, that's cool, because my car still aims directly for potholes. Yes, it seems like. Yes. So it's like, I'm riding down the road. I'm like, that looks bad. I have to force it out because the car is like going to go straight. It just.
Yeah, I'm still ready to do that, but I'm finding that like the car is doing exactly what I would do when I would do it. So like as I'm going to take control, the wheels already turn the way I would turn. I'm like, well, I guess I don't need to take control
now. Well, so what's funny is I noticed that my car is getting better, because there was this one crazy curve in my neighborhood where it's like, it doesn't look like it's a really sharp curve, but it's really sharper than it looks when you go into it.
Yeah. And
you come up on it kind of fast. The car now, it used to struggle with that curve. So it would go, and then it would get really jerky as it's trying to navigate that curve, and sometimes it would even go a little bit out of it. Now, and so I'm always ready to take over right there and just do it myself.
Right.
But now I found that I went to take over, and it was like, oh wait, it got it. It's good. I was surprised.
Yeah. I I had one yesterday. We were driving down a country road, 2-lane each direction, so 4-lane country road, but like it was divided highways. What we call a Super 2. It's just basically it's an interstate that's not an interstate, but occasionally you'll see traffic lights on them, but usually Super 2 won't have traffic lights on it either. Anyway, so it did have intersections on this particular section, and every time we were driving next to this, I don't know if it was a garbage truck or a dump truck, but the guy was on the paint and he kept dipping into our lane. So anytime there was a break, our car would veer to the left and then back into the lane to take advantage of the extra pavement to get away from the truck. And I thought that was it was weird. It was new, and I would do that if the guy twitched, but I didn't see him twitch, and so I see where it was going, and it was new, and I don't know how I feel about that. I didn't feel I had to take over. Just like is he coming at us? Coming at us?
Wow.
It also made me feel more comfortable that in the future, if I find a driver that's not necessarily a pro driver, but somebody who's like in our space, that it would take care of things. I also took this photo. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I got it. Let me open up a new tab here.
Although I do wish my car would avoid some of those potholes that are, especially some of the more obvious ones that are.
Right. So I should be able to do this. We'll see if it lets me. So this is on that same road, but later in the day. Pardon the dust. I wasn't planning on taking any photos. You see that? That's a pickup truck, and that's a horse trailer, right? Or the back of a semi shrunk down real far, right? My car never used to show towing vehicles. It would show like it would either turn the pickup truck into a semi truck.
Into a semi truck, right?
Or it would show me 2 pickup trucks, or a pickup truck being followed by a van. That's a pickup truck with a trailer.
Yeah, that's it's recognizing that it's towing something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a picture of it, but I don't want to dox myself. But it was a picture basically of the actual truck, and its trailer was one of them home built box things, like you might see watermelon or pumpkin in, I guess. And that was pretty cool to me because it didn't do that before.
Yeah.
And there was no fresh update to cause it to do that either. So, because we haven't had an update in a month. So Toyota's doing something funny here. Toyota's now offering to buy back the recalled BZ4Xs. I know that.
Wait, buyback?
Buyback.
Not a recall, but a buyback.
Buyback. Zachary actually sent me a link to the actual notice. So let's do that first. And let's copy.
Oh wait, and they're advising people not to drive them. So I don't remember what was the original recall on those?
It was like the wheel bearing, something that they should have had since 100 years ago.
Since it's something that all just regular cars have, this isn't even. We're not even talking about something that's related to, EV specific.
Right, and it's not like the BZ4X is actually heavier than the RAV4 to some major extent. Like they build heavier cars. The Tundra, they know what they're doing with wheel bearings.
Or they should.
Yeah, there you go. You would think they would. So Gen Arc Mac says, "Glad I didn't buy one." Let's make this bigger. That made it smaller. We recently advised you of a safety recall on your 2023 Toyota BZ4X and continue to ask that you not allow your vehicle to be driven until the remedy is available. Yeah, you're making payments on insurance and taxes and cash on this vehicle, and you can't drive it at all. We're working diligently to remedy and will notify you in the future when it becomes available. If it's just wheel bearings, just give me a new wheel bearing.
What if that was my only vehicle?
Then you toast.
Then what? I still got to go to work, right? I still got to pay for this car note. Like how? Yes. What am I supposed to do with paying for a car I can't drive. Like,
Right. And sometimes here they will give you a loaner car, but the fact that they told you continue not to drive your car doesn't sound like you're in a loaner car, because if you have a car, you're not at all thinking about driving your broken car until they tell you it's fixed. So it sounds like they didn't do loaners.
nope.
I'm not saying they
It
didn't,
probably
but I'm saying at first glance, the way they worded it, it doesn't sound good.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
They're assuming that everybody has a second car they can drive.
Seems that way.
Like, oh,
Uh,
I know you wouldn't have bought this car without something else, just in case.
All right, so at Toyota, safety is your top priority. If you have not already done so, please contact any authorized Toyota dealer, and they will arrange to pick up and store your vehicle at no cost until the remedy is available. Okay, so we will also provide a loaner vehicle at no cost to you. Okay, so that's fair.
Okay, that's better.
But it didn't seem like that. Like in the first paragraph, they said, "Hey, continue driving the loaner vehicle."
Well,
And
so this is not an automatic thing either. They're not automatically giving loaners. This is an option
Right.
that you have to arrange this option, but that's not. It doesn't seem like that's an automatic thing. They're just like, hey, just don't drive it. And okay,
Right.
if you have
That's
to,
the default.
you can arrange
Default
it.
is-
We'll pick up the vehicle, store it for you, and we'll give you a loaner.
Yeah. So with the as Keith Wiggins points out, now I had to put my mouse cursor is set to hide everything. So now I have to put gas in the loaner. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
exactly, Keith. Now I bought an EV for a purpose. Now instead, I'm stuck with a
Polluting.
gas vehicle. That, by the way, the loaner, you get what you get. So it's not even like, oh yeah, I get to pick out this particular vehicle, the one that I want. You just
Right.
get what's available. So
Right.
it may be a vehicle that you don't even want.
You buy the Mac Daddy BZ4X with 4-wheel drive and all the options because you need 4-wheel drive for whatever reason, and you picked it for the cargo capacity. And they give you a 2-wheel drive Corolla base with a stick. Okay, probably not the stick, but you get what I'm saying. With crank windows. So now you can't haul what you were supposed to haul, and it's 2-wheel drive instead of 4-wheel drive. And you're putting gas in it now. So I like the way that Mercedes handled their stop drive order way better than this. So Mercedes said, hey, we're writing to inform you of this. Please let us know when is best to come pick this car up. We'll tow it for you and drop you a loaner. Have a nice day. If I'm recalling correctly, that's how it was worded. That's how it was delivered.
I believe that was the gist of how they did it, and that's a much better way of handling it.
Yeah, they say, hey, continue not to drive your car. What? Hey, we need your 20-year-old car back, and by the way, here's a loaner. Let's see. Provide you with total credits of $5,000 toward payments of your loan or lease. Oh, that is nice. That's rare. We'll provide you with up to $5,000 to your loan or lease, and or the purchase price if the vehicle is paid in full. Okay, so they're paying you off. Like, hey, shh.
Purchase price paid in full. So yeah, so they're offering to buy it back.
Just $5,000.
I thought you said something about a purchase price.
Up to $5,000 towards payments of your loan or lease or purchase price if the vehicle is paid in full.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So if you already paid it off in full, like you paid cash for the car or whatever, they'll give you up to $5,000.
Yeah. All right. So apparently they run into people like me. We'll reimburse your fueling costs while operating the provided loaner vehicle. Remember after I had my car crash where the semi truck kicked me out of my Model S for a little while. I made the insurance company and the body shop. I made them all pay for my gas. I was like, no, no, I'm not buying gas. If you bought Toyota after them spending money on the insurrectionists, that's the least of the punishment you deserve. You have a point there. They've been making a lot of really bad political moves, even for people who are like super extreme. You're like, why did you do that? We didn't ask you for that. Oh my goodness, you supported him. It's like, and it's not an isolated event. They did this like 15 times at least that we've talked about.
They're making a lot of bad decisions.
Yes. So let's see. Provide additional time for complimentary charging at all EV. Oh, that's even better. That's harder to do. So they're extending your free charging period through December 31st of 2024. Now the question is, will it be fixed by then?
If it's just wheel bearings, why isn't it fixed already?
Right. That's another.
I think there's something more going on that
What
they're
is going
not
on?
telling. It's more to the story, and they're just keeping hush hush about it.
We'll provide an
I
extension
think
to
I
your
think
vehicle.
I think eventually they're just gonna want to buy back all these vehicles. Just say total recall. Just buy them all back.
Yeah.
These were rushed out. They weren't ready yet. We
Right.
have other issues, and we have to work out our issues, and we just need them all back.
I mean,
I think
clearly,
that's
look
what's
at
going
this.
to happen.
We're going to provide an extension to your new vehicle warranty based on the period of time your vehicle is not able to be driven due to the recall, starting June 23rd of 2022, through a date in the future when the remedy is announced. All right, here we go. Alternatively, if you do not wish to proceed as described above, Toyota will offer to repurchase your vehicle. But the terms of the repurchase may vary depending on the state and particular circumstances. That's a straight up buyback, as Omar was saying. Like, we're done with you. Have a nice life. Give us our garbage vehicle back. A BZ4X specialist will reach out to you in the coming days to discuss these options. Should you wish to speak with someone sooner, please contact us here between 8 and 8, Monday to Friday, and 9 to 7 on Saturday. We sincerely regret any inconvenience this condition may have caused you. And this is not to gloat on Toyota, but like this is to say, this is a wheel bearing. Like they're on all cars ever made. How are you getting this wrong? And what else is going on? Why is this going to take? Why are you offering to buy the car back for a wheel bearing? What is the real story here?
Right. I don't understand why that it seems like that would be a simple repair that can be made, and it would be a lot cheaper just to make the repairs than to buy them all back. So what is actually going on?
Exactly. I mean, I will give credit to Toyota here for doing it the right way on this second communication over what GM and Hyundai and Kia did with theirs. Oh, just don't charge all the way. Hey, we've made a patch to make it so you can't charge all the way. Oh yeah, don't park next to the house. Blah 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 blah. And then hey yeah, we're finally gonna fix everything and make it better. Now I don't think it came to all of that with a wheel bearing, but they said, hey, we're gonna cover your gas. Hey, we're gonna give you money for your payments. So I applaud them for handling this the way they have on this second communication. I don't know what the first one looked like. I think the first one was like, hey, it's broken. We don't know what's going on. Just letting you know, don't drive your car.
If I would have bought one of these, I'd be like, here, take it back, buy it back.
Yeah, especially
I'm
after
gonna
seeing
get
what
something
happened
else
with
because
the Bolt and the others. Yeah,
right, because you don't know how long. Because the way this communication is, they have no idea how long it's going to take before the actual fix is actually done, completed. So with them not knowing, you have no clue on the fix. I would have no confidence in it. I would just want it. I would personally, just me, I'd want to just return it and get another vehicle, go get something else.
Right. So Eddie says this is part of Toyota's resistance to EVs, I guess. I would say this might be a symptom of that because they didn't want to sell in the first place. That this is why it's taking them, why they're dragging their feet, right? Possibly.
Well, possibly because they didn't want to sell it in the first place. They didn't put the necessary effort into it to make sure that it was solid before they sold it.
Right.
And then now they put out something that they're like, uh-oh, we have a problem. Now we need to recall this back in. And that could be a result of the fact that they weren't putting the proper amount of investment in EVs to begin with.
It's quite possible. Well, the next question then is, what if you bought the Subaru instead of the Toyota? Like, do you get these same protections? It's the same car. And then Zach
does it have the same problem?
I think it does. They're built on the same line in the same factory. It's just one has a Toyota badge and the other has a Subaru badge.
Well, I mean, yeah, if they're clones, then they would have the same problem.
They're straight up clones. So Zachary points out, will Toyota reimburse the people for the dealer markup? And I would say no, really, because look here. If this
they said it will vary from state to state and everything, so they're just gonna do the minimum of what's required by law for them to do if they do it. So
here's the sale price of your car. Here's how much you paid for it, and here are the options that we shipped on it. Like, hey, we had the upgraded wheels from the factory. We had whatever. Oh, you want an underspray and dealer markup? Sorry, Bo.
Yeah, but that is a good point though, because dealers have been doing these market adjustment markups and whatnot, and well above MSRP. So, what's Toyota willing to do? They're probably willing to reimburse the MSRP.
Right. I mean, you didn't negotiate dealer markup. You wouldn't have paid it. So now you're forced into paying it. I mean, I'd be upset at that. Or I might say, hey, you're one of the people we won't buy it back from because we're not paying the $5,000 or $20,000. All right, so we've got a tweet for VinFast is hiring 8,000 additional employees to boost production. Coming from Reuters. This one says, VinFast is going to become the next Hyundai Kia in emerging EV industry, or this company will implode. They're betting big that they're going to succeed. And I think that was the reason I linked the tweet instead of the article. Yeah, it could go one of two ways. They'll either do really well or they'll implode. The question is, how will people in the States respond to renting their batteries? I think this is the first time in the States that this has been the case. That wasn't a commercial bus or a fleet vehicle. I think that they have had battery leases for those, but those people love leasing things anyway, so it's a different equation than somebody who wants to be able to just pop in the car. Or, hey, I pay for this car for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, however much my term is. I want to not make any more payments until my first repair. That you can't do that if you don't own the battery. You gotta keep making payments. So we'll see how that works in America. All right, so they currently employ 6,000, and they're employing 6,000 more according to the headline, 8,000 more according to the headline, and the first paragraph. Where are they going to put them at? In Vietnam. Okay. Well, what's going to get them is if this new bill passes through. They're talking about doing it in Vietnam. The only incentives are on cars built in North America. So that puts them at a disadvantage from day one, which is good for American employees, but not to build your company, right? And we haven't done any real coverage on the bill because it keeps shifting. Like this morning, I found out that they removed the $35 a month or a week cap on insulin. So now it's unlimited pricing yet again for something that used to be $2 a shot is now hundreds of dollars a month. You can guess who had the protection removed. Zachary called them out on it earlier. It was them.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're beholden to where they get their money from. So
they are just like a certain lady who used to be poor now suddenly cares about carried interest for stockbrokers. She's one of the two who usually holds up these things lately. Aside from every Republican, but you know what I mean. So Zachary says, thank you for the great job, guys, and gave us a nice $20 donation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Zachary.
Appreciate it. So in March, they announced they would build a plant in North Carolina with an additional projected capacity of 150,000 EVs per year. There you go. They said that plant would create 7,500 jobs. And they said they expect to sell 750,000 EVs per year by 2026. Hey, that's stronger than some of these incumbents are talking about, like Ford and GM and them, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's an impressive number.
Yeah, if they can do it.
Right, if they can do it. That's the thing. Can they pull that off?
I mean, I'm not wishing them ill will. I mean, I would love to see them do this, especially in the States, because as we saw with Rivian, the people who need the jobs don't necessarily know they want the jobs. We don't like Rivian. We don't like good jobs, and we don't like Rivian. We need jobs. Give us jobs. Well, what do you want? We built a plant. Nah, we don't want that. Do you know what it is? Nah, we don't know what that is. Well, then how do you know you don't like it? Oh, I don't like it. They said on the TV. Because we read the headline. Rivian bad. No, that's basically what it was. All right, so they have 8,000 reservations in the U.S. Hey, you get 1 employee per reservation. Look at that. Oh, I hope they do well. This will be interesting to see how they do.
I wish them well. The more players, the better. I mean,
Yes.
and they have 8,000 reservations already in the U.S., which is nice. And I'm assuming that since they're building them in Vietnam, they're going to be shipping all over different places all over the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, assuming that they can pull off what they intend to pull off, they should be successful.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We shall see. And we will give you updates on this like we do for so many other topics. But for now, let's move on to talking about ice bands. We talked about them earlier with, who were we talking about before? Was it GM? Ford? Volkswagen?
Which one?
It may have been Volkswagen. But now it's definitely Volkswagen. The ice bands could put the next generation of VW Golf on ice because of upcoming emissions regulations could help kill it as well. So I guess they don't plan to make whatever their name of their platform, that the Buzz is built on, the ID4 and all them, the ID platform. I guess they don't plan to shove one under a GTI.
But
why not?
But I thought that was a fuel efficient vehicle. So what?
It is fuel efficient, but if you're going to make a whole new one, remember it takes 6 years to do or so, and then you got to run it for at least 6 years to get your money back. And we're in 2022 right now, so if they haven't started yet, it'll be 2028, 2030, and if 2035 is the cutoff, and you start in 2030,
why? Yeah. It may not. Yeah.
And it's not 2020. It's not 2035 everywhere, but remember, VW is a worldwide group, and they're in Europe. So Europe actually has some of the earlier ones at 2030 and 2030, 2035, and 2040, whereas the U.S. and Canada tend to be on the back of that at 2040, 2035, and 2050. The only one worse than us is Saudi Arabia at 2050 for their first go at this.
For them to start with the yeah.
Go figure.
But that's for obvious reasons. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Although at the same time, Norway is one of the largest exporters of fossil fuels, and they are already practically done with their conversion. So where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, right, but at the same time, Norway is more like, we're gonna be clean here. We don't care what y'all do over there.
Right.
And yeah, keep buying this garbage that's polluting because we're making a ton of money off of it. That's fine, but we're just not gonna use that crap here.
Exactly.
But
we're gonna make it while we can.
But the overall car market in Norway is not as big as, like, let's say, United States or something.
Right. But I imagine that they might have a leg up on Saudi Arabia.
Maybe.
Yeah. But even Saudi Arabia is talking about doing solar and batteries and hydrogen. They see the end is coming, but they obviously just think it's further out than everybody else.
Well, they want to stretch that out as far as they can.
Yeah, I mean, you can make money today versus having to figure out how to fix it tomorrow. All right, so the various bans are a distant hurdle. It has to clear the draconian Euro 7 emissions regulations that will come into effect in Europe in 2025. Boom, right there. So if it's not out now, you've already lost your money. Meeting these norms will make new cars between 3,000 and 5,000 euros more expensive. So $3,100 to $5,200 more expensive than in 2022 in just 3 years. That's before inflation. That's before anything. So remember, the Golf is seen as an entry-level car in most markets.
Right, and if you got to bump the price up by $5,000, then all of a sudden
your customer can't afford it. And if your customer can't afford it, why make it? I get them.
Plus, who wants to be left holding the bag, being buying the last gas car that then you're getting pretty much scrap metal prices when you try to trade it in because it's not worth anything other than that. you can't really sell it, and nobody wants to be left holding the bag. So
Yep, and we're seeing that in Norway. A lot of families will take a vacation to go to mainland Europe to sell their used car rather than try and sell it at the reduced price in Norway as a used car. I mean, you get a vacation and you get more money for your car. And even if it didn't work, you got a vacation. All right, so America hasn't banned the internal combustion engine yet, but the Golf doesn't sell well here. No, because we like big old honking trucks.
we like big vehicles. We don't like small vehicles here. We like huge vehicles.
Right, and this is
We need
something
to be able to store carry and store and transport all of our stuff, just in case, even though 99% of the time we're not doing that.
Exactly. Yeah, we discussed last week when I realized how small Volkswagen is in this country. Because as a car nut, I see them everywhere, and I didn't realize that they were just a footnote in America. you saw me like realizing this live. I was like, what? Because I was complaining that their goals were too small, but their goals were basically all of their U.S. sales. So I felt kind of bad for ragging on them. So Walter McVeigh is asking if GM is still leading. Let's look and see why he says that on Twitter. But GM is still leading? Question mark. Meanwhile, Ford's all-electric vehicle sales reached a new record. In July, the company sold 7,669 nice battery electric vehicles, which is 169% more. That's another 69 more than a year ago. 4.9% of the total volume. Also a new record. So 5% of Ford's vehicles are EV. So not just 5% of America, 5% of Ford. I think
that's huge for them.
It is.
You know,
I think we've hit the started to hit the bottom of the hockey stick here. I mean, we're at 5%. We were at what, less than 2% a couple years ago.
The company says that the BEV growth rate is outpacing the market's average.
Yeah.
That's because everybody is starting to want EVs now because it's being more normalized.
Yeah.
It's not such a niche, oh, that's a toy for rich people. It's more so, or just for enthusiasts. It's more so, oh, this is a normal car that makes sense.
Exactly.
This is doable. Yeah.
Especially you got the likes of the BZ4X and the ID4, which I'm going to continue to call the Camry of EVs. Although it should be the Model Y at this point, except that their price is still a little higher than the Camry, whereas the BZ4X and the ID4 are Camry priced. So Eddie says worldwide Golfs are diesel. That's another good point. There aren't as many gas Golfs worldwide.
And yeah, we don't really do diesel here in the U.S. too much.
Big trucks.
they're not. Other than the big vehicles, diesel's not popular here. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the GM lowered their price on the Bolt. So the Chevy Bolt is a cheaper vehicle, but they're
still not beating anybody.
They just can't produce enough. I think their issues they can't.
I hope that's what it is. Yeah.
I don't think they've figured out their production. Like Ford is really ramping up production and figuring that piece of it out. They're starting to figure that out. The
thing is, they had it until the fires, and then all of a sudden it's like they forgot how to do anything. I mean, because when you look at who ran out of their tax credit, Tesla and GM, that's it.
But that set them back a lot. The fires set them back a lot because of the batteries. If you think about having to replace all of those batteries, that's production right there.
It is.
All of those batteries would have went into production vehicles that are now instead being used to replace all the batteries in all the
cars you already built. Yeah.
Right. So that sets them way back with their supply chain. And batteries is the thing that's going to be the biggest bottleneck in the supply chain for EVs.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, so the company says that its BEV growth rate is outpacing the market's average, and that the brand is now the second biggest player in battery electric vehicle segment after Tesla. Mary led, right?
Leading from behind.
She's leading from the back. So this is what I kept saying. Like you see me saying this ever since Mary was saying that she was leading. Is that why is it not Ford? Why is it not Ford? It is Ford, except that nobody, even the government, will admit it.
Well, really, it's not. The leader is Tesla. I mean,
Oh
let's
no,
be
I
honest.
meant the second leader, the second place.
Yeah. Everybody else is fighting for second place, but
Right.
but we're still not. I mean, the government didn't even want to address the elephant in the room, which is the leader in electric vehicles worldwide, and especially here in America, is still Tesla.
Most American car in America.
They're the most American-made car, and they're selling the most electric vehicles.
They even have a union in Germany, and maybe in Mexico, and
Right.
Michigan.
So,
They don't have it anywhere else. So I got a union, but they're not a part of that because UAW kicked that plant to the curb. So why would you want to go back after they, after you finally got some success? Now they want you back. Nah, bro, you kicked me to the curb. Get out of here. I don't mess with you. You're gonna do it again. Fool me once, fool me twice. You can't get fooled again.
all right, G-Dub.
That's right. So that number includes 2173 Ford F-150 Lightning pickups, a new monthly record, 4970 Mustang Mach-E's, a near record, and 526 Ford E-Transits. If the Ford E-Transit had more range, I would have bought one already. You know me, guys. I need that 200 miles. That's all I need. I don't need much. All right. Vehicles and net income. That's what's most likely to happen. Yeah, possibly. All right, so let's move on to actual some more stories we got here. So we talked about Volkswagen. What is this one? This might be the one we're on now. It's highlighted. Yeah, it's the one we're on now. All right, so Omar brought this article up. Let's start with that. Oh wait, we talked about it already. The FSD. Dan wanted to talk about the swimming pool supercharger, so let's talk about that for a minute. There we go.
Germany, cool place.
It is a cool place. So I speculated ad nauseum on this, on the Tesla life. Your turn.
It's a good publicity move. That's what this is. I mean,
Yeah.
Think about it. Okay, you go to a supercharger, you plug in, right? I don't know about you, but if I'm at a supercharger, chances are 9 times out of 10, I'm on a road trip and I'm traveling somewhere. I'm trying to get from here to there, right?
Right.
My car only needs 15, 20 minutes at the supercharger.
Right.
Do I have time to change into a bathing suit, jump in a swimming pool, swim around and whatnot, enjoy myself, have fun, and then have to immediately get back out? Like, by the time you change clothes, jump in the pool, it's time to get out the pool to change back to get back on the road.
Right. So my I was leaning on the whole reputation that the Germans had for skinny dipping and communal bathing, and now that we've got some more international viewers up, is that what they were leaning on? Because if you don't have to do anything but dry your skin, that might make it easier. One thing I want to point out: this isn't Tesla doing this, even though it says their name on it. This is actually
Hello and
a third party. He set up a space, applied for the supercharger site, got it. He's got the solar. He's got a nice place to eat. I like it when the daggum preview doesn't match the picture.
I think it's an attraction thing. This is to attract people there. Once you get there, oh, you're gonna spend money buying something to eat or whatever, and
so you got the restaurant.
Not many people are gonna actually partake in the pool itself. They're gonna just like pick the restaurant up or whatever, charge the car, and keep it moving. And I like the fact that he did all solar.
Yeah, all solar. Also, he brought in Fastned, which is the one of the larger third-party chargers in Europe. To use the pool, you need to be a customer charging. So you need to have show your Tesla app charging, or you need to be able to show your other car app charging right there at their site, and then you can go swimming. So at first I thought it was this where Kyle, right here you can see him with the I'll pull that article up next. I thought it was just an add-on to this site, and I was like, oh, they're trying everything. Now this is a whole nother site that's trying to be inviting. And I thought that was really cool. So they got the restaurant, they got the solar, they've got batteries on site, Tesla Volt. So I'm guessing those are used Tesla batteries. Then of course they've got the pool, food. You can see the Ionity chargers at 300 kilowatts. So they're fast chargers. And then at the time this YouTuber came through, the pool was not actually, like, it just dropped off, so it hadn't actually been in use yet. Let's see, is there any other revelation that I found in the video? Oh yeah, they got slower charging as well, if you need it. So this is like a charging oasis, is basically how I get it.
But now, that would be pretty cool if I was using the slower charging and I have plenty of time to have fun in the pool, or have the, have the kids have fun in the pool, or whatever. You got a couple hours to kill or whatever. But you have to use the supercharger to use the pool, so you're not going to be splashing around in the pool for a couple hours because you don't need a couple hours.
Right. Mike says you don't want to swim in a dumpster.
Right. Besides pointing out that obvious.
I like it. Oh man. So the place I thought it was this place here. I thought it was one of the cube lounges by what did they call themselves? The World. A BK Lounge. And not Burger King. Like it's BK something Lounge is the name of the company that's dropping these boxes off. And they're really nice inside. And one of the things I liked was they have a pizza vending machine. I called it the pizza ATM when I first saw it. They've got these nicer vending machines here where you can like buy like toiletries and food and stuff, not like stale crackers or whatever. But that's what I call it, the pizza ATM, just because look at it. It looks like an ATM. But instead of getting cash, you get pizzas. I like it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It takes 4 minutes.
4 minutes to change the world.
This will change your life.
To save the world, yes. I want to try this now. Like I saw a video where somebody was using it, and like you didn't see the inside of the processor or anything. You just saw what was on the screen. But then out came a box, and when you opened the box, it was a nice, delicious-looking pizza. I was like, "Whoa,
that's magic! How do they do that? This is witchcraft."
I'd like to see how it's made, how it works, sort of situation on it. I'll tell you what, my dad showed me how to make grilled pizza, and that is delicious. So here's the inside of the lounge. It's not particularly fancy, but it's not it's not like a mobile whatever. It doesn't feel bad. It feels a little upscale. And then they've got Nintendo Switch for the kids. Although at the same time, your Tesla has already got games in it for the kids. BK World and the BK Lounge.
I like it.
What this is. This is like a seating area. Yeah, they look nice. And BK World Lounge. There we go. So there are a lot of places in the U.S. that could use this. Like anything, like I said on Tesla Life, anything I've rated a 6 or below needs one of these. On the
where is this
reviews. Though? This one's in Germany as well. That's why I thought the pool was here, but the pool is not here. Yeah,
I thought so because the way they wrote minute was
yeah
that looked German.
And then this is my friend Kyle from North Carolina and Colorado, and so I was surprised he didn't mention the pool because it wasn't there. That's why he didn't mention it. And so this person points out that BK World seems to be the one deploying everything and adding Tesla superchargers on their site. Wouldn't be surprised if they put Ionity on the other side. Yeah, that's what the other guy did with the pool. So why not? All right, so this one is.
But then again, in Europe, don't the Tesla superchargers, don't they have CCS?
They're all CCS if they're version 3, and they're dual-headed if they're version 2. And
so if you add Tesla superchargers, then other vehicles could charge on that as well.
Right, like if it's in one of the sites that Tesla has opened, you don't even need to add the other guy's stuff.
Right. That was going
In
to be
fact,
my point.
it may save you effort, because if you're like, if they don't call the company and they call the site owner every time one of these machines is broken, I would much rather it be Tesla, because then they're calling Tesla and they break less anyway, but then they're calling Tesla instead of waking me up at 3 a.m. Hey, I'm stuck out here. I need to get there for the meeting in the morning, and your stuff's broken. I tried 3 chargers. Did you try the last one, please? Oh, okay. Have a nice night. But I do understand. After you tried 3, do you really want to try the 4th one? I mean, if I'm stuck, I would.
Stuck,
but,
yes.
But I get the frustration. It's like, man,
I get the frustration too. But yeah.
And like I said, in all my years of Tesla charging, I've only come across 3 broken chargers. One at Savannah Airport, returning from the hurricane evacuation. One in Elizabeth, New Jersey, where I ended up cutting the line. Oh well. And where was the other one? There was one more. It was a cabinet down situation, but it was a version 2, so it only took out 2 stalls. He says, "Come make more pizza." Absolutely, I'll be there.
That's funny. I ran into situations at Tesla superchargers where some of the stalls were down.
Yes.
But I haven't ran into a situation where the entire site was down.
I've had one
without it showing up in the car.
Okay, yeah, it showed up in the car.
So it would show up in the car, and you would see that it's down. So
Yeah.
you knew ahead of time already that it was down.
Down or maintenance, yeah.
Right. So it's like, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I can't go to that one.
Right.
So I didn't bother to stop there.
Right. A couple years ago, after one of the hurricanes, Lumberton, North Carolina went down. And it wasn't that the site was down; it was that you couldn't get to the site because the city was flooded.
I hate that location anyway.
Yeah, I don't want a free steak because I don't eat steak. But oh, by the way, if you show your key fob or app or key card to the steakhouse that is hosting the Lumberton Supercharger, you get a nice discount.
Yeah, they give you a discount, but again, like, I still don't like that.
It's not my favorite. I actually use the gas station more than I use the steakhouse. I don't even know that I've been in the steakhouse yet.
I've been in that steakhouse a couple times. They have a nice bar.
How is it? Oh, nice bar. All right. But so the whole town was flooded. So it wasn't the site was down. It was that Tesla knew that you couldn't reach it. So they just marked it out on the map so the car would route you around it. And this was when they were still in the beginning of building up the East Coast. So the car told me at the previous site, it said charge to like 99%. It didn't say charge to 100. So 99%, and then we'll go. And that's what we did. We went around it. But I don't know if that's one. I don't know if that's the third one where I'm counting where it was down. I think it was just another cabinet down situation. So
I've never had to wait at a site, but I've seen. I got lucky one time. Got to the site. I plugged in, and I was the last car that could plug in. And then another car came after I did, and they had to wait.
What, 5 minutes?
Maybe 2 or 3 minutes, because then, like, shortly after I got there, another car left, so then another car got to use the spot. But that was on a holiday weekend,
right? And
it was just super busy, summertime. It was like 4th of July weekend or something like that, and I remember, that was the closest that I came to having to wait. Right. Now, I've been to California before, and luckily,
that's different.
Luckily, I didn't have to end up in a situation where I ended up at those super duper duper busy spots that I had to wait.
Right, but the map even tells you, hey, you got a 30-minute wait at this stop. So you want to try this one? You're like, yeah, I would actually. Thank you.
Right.
But the closest I came to a wait, like you said, where Elizabeth had 4 stalls down because the version 3 cabinet holds 4 stalls. But that one ended up being 30-second wait because I ended up cutting the line. And the Savannah Supercharger, when we were returning from the hurricane evacuation, that one ended up being 6 minutes, and only because the distance from the terminal to the charger, it was an older couple, they had to walk. That was the other one. All of my towing, when you tow with the U-Haul you can't disconnect it. So the other one I had to wait was like 15 minutes for that jerk who wouldn't move his car because, you're lucky we finished eating. Screw you, guy.
Yeah, That's something that needs to be sorted out
Yeah, they need more
when the
pull-throughs.
Cybertrucks come out, because a lot more people will be towing, and
Yeah.
that's going to be more of an issue.
Right, and it's not that I was lazy. I mean, there are cases where people just being lazy, they don't want to unhook, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with not wanting to unhook if it's not busy. But there are there are cases where you cannot unhook, like literally the U-Haul van trailers, the square ones. You can't put them down once they're loaded up. They're heavy, and they don't have any landing gear. So if you do, good luck getting it back up. Assuming you didn't scratch the heck out of your car getting it off in the first place. Also, by the way, that's a 500-pound lift on the big one. Not here. Not here. Yeah. Like, hey.
The only way I can think of to do that would be you need to take a couple of like concrete, like cinder blocks or something with you, and a jack. You put a base down underneath it, put a jack under there, and you can jack it up. You can go ahead, you can unhook, and then you'll be able to rehook using a jack.
Maybe. But I think it might even be in the agreement saying that you will not unhook it, because they won't let you.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
They do it, and then they take a picture, and if it doesn't match, they have stuff to say. So if it's in the agreement, I didn't read the whole agreement. I bet you they could come after you for that too. I'm not looking to pay them for nothing. For their old blessed.
Plus, that would be. I mean, again, in that particular situation, that's a lot of work because it's not meant to be unhooked. So that's a lot of work.
Exactly. Does the Tesla charging app stagger guess when there are multiple travelers converging on a site? Yes, it does that now.
It does.
So, somebody in Charleston was arriving at a supercharger the same time as everybody else, and the app on the car, not the app on the phone, the app on the car on the GPS said, "Hey, we're rerouting you because by the time you get there, it will be a 15-minute wait." Because like literally that person was arriving with 6 other people, and that would fill it up, and you had to wait for the fastest person to finish. So it moved them to another site. It said, instead of going to Richmond, now we're going to Charlottesville or something, for instance. And that was actually really cool. And I like it. Mine just typically says, hey, there's a wait here. What do you want to do? Because I'm manually picking them. Yeah. It used to just say slow. And then they added, like, I guess they got confident with the machine learning on how long it would take each person. I mean, because like for me, they always know I'm going to be more than 5 minutes longer than what it says if they don't tell me something stupid like an hour of charging. If they tell me 15 minutes charging, I'll be 20. If they tell me 10 minutes, I'll be 15. If they tell me an hour, I'll be 45.
It was funny on my road trip. It tried to have me stop at a supercharger for 50 minutes, and I looked and I was looking at the map and I was like, why would I spend 50 minutes here? I could spend 10 minutes here, go to this other supercharger, spend 10 minutes there, then go to that other supercharger that they were trying to get me to stop at. So just by adding one extra stop in between, I can make it to that other stop.
So now your total charge is 20 minutes instead
of 50.
I
was like, why would I spend 50 minutes? Like, that didn't make sense to me.
I still sincerely believe what Tesla's done is, rather than educate the new users about, hey, you want to reduce your time traveling, they just caved on the, hey, you want to reduce the number of stops you make. Instead of asking you, hey, do you want a short trip or do you want to not stop?
And that's where I wish they would have an option so that you can pick, either shortest time or least number of stops.
Right. Because
the way I travel, I'd rather do shortest time versus the least number of stops.
So that's where I use a Better Route Planner app. Also, like I said, on the last trip, between the 3 of us, so you got the baby, my wife, and myself, between the 3 bladders, we never actually made it to any of the stops that the car wanted to stop at. And thankfully, in the Northeast, all of the superchargers, well, not all of them, but all of the stops we would want to make, like all the Oasis, toll plazas, all that sort of thing, they all have chargers on the off-ramp, like the rest area. It's not, you don't have to get off the highway. You're just kind of parked. And so by the time we were back from the restroom, that was enough that the car said, oh, I know I said the first stop was in New Jersey, but now your first stop is in New York. Oh, okay. And then we stopped in New Jersey anyway because we had to go to the bathroom again. And, oh, you will get there now. You don't need to stop anymore. Tell that to so-and-so's bladder. We're stopping again.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's funny. I was talking to one of my buddies who he has kids, and his kids always hold him up, right? So he ends up he's like, so he's asking me, well, yeah, how long is your charging time when you stop with it? I'm like, yeah, I stop in a charge for like 20 minutes and then I'm back on the road, so it's no big deal. By the time I go to the bathroom or whatever, I'm only waiting for 5 minutes and I'm leaving.
yes,
Um, and he's like, and I said, you'd be surprised. You may think you're only stopping for 5 minutes when you're in your gas car and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to gas
right,
up and go to the bathroom, but you're really stopping for like 20 minutes.
right.
Trust me,
You're
it's
only
not.
holding the
It's
handle for
never.
5 minutes, but you had to get there. You had to do all the extra stuff. You had to
I'm
pay.
like,
You're holding the
never.
handle for 5 minutes.
Right. It's never just 5 minutes. Trust me. If you think it is, it's not. Just time yourself next time.
I got a
And the
video
guy
on that.
and the guy said, "Oh no. With my kids, I'm stopping for like an hour. I can't seem to get in and out of anywhere in less than
Right,
an hour with
right,
the three kids because he has like three kids, right?
right.
And I'm like, so an EV's perfect for you then.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm like, the car be done long before you are.
Speaking of that, on our return trip, one of our unplanned stops put us at the Delaware Plaza, and so I went to the restroom and I bought some food. The car's like, oh, here's how long it's going to take to get home. And we got home with like 60% charge because it took so long to get the food and get it back to the car because they're all the way at the back of the plaza, which is fine.
Yep, I've been there.
You want it to
I,
be
I like the fact that it's back there
right
because
because nobody's taking
then,
your spots.
right, you're less likely to get ice because nobody wants to park way back there to walk all the way over there.
Right, it had to be like Thanksgiving or something to get regular cars back
They
there.
do the same thing in Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland House,
At the
both Marylands, yeah,
at the Maryland House and at the
Chesapeake House.
Chesapeake House.
Yes,
Those are my favorites. I don't even stop at the Delaware one. I like stopping at
I
either
tried.
Maryland House
It didn't
or
work.
Chesapeake House.
There was traffic and I had to go.
Chesapeake House is my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's less people there than
Yeah.
at the Maryland House, so that's why I like that one.
That's where we went instead of New Jersey because, that was our first unplanned stop. It's like we didn't even get out of the region and we had to charge now. Not that we didn't have to charge, but we had to stop.
You had to
Yeah.
take a pee break. Yeah,
Exactly.
You had to take a bladder break.
Right. And why take a bladder break at a place without a charger when there's one
No,
stop
that's
down?
silly. That's silly. If ABC, always be charging. If you stop, you charge.
Yeah. It could be, but it wasn't that we were late. It was that that once we were on the road, like you say, "Did you go? Did you go? Did you?" Yeah, I'm fine. No, I need to make sure you go and go wash your hands. Yeah, don't tell me you're good.
Did you go? I don't have to go. Go anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but yeah. So like my sister loves to say, "Oh, these won't work. They won't work because you got to charge." And then like it's like you tell me it won't work. I'm 1,000 miles into this trip. Yeah. So Dan sent us this article about Nikola acquiring Romeo Power to develop and produce its own EV batteries in-house because hydrogen won't work. So one, I'm surprised they actually had the money to buy another company and that they haven't gone out of business for lying to people. But
So are they abandoning their whole
doubt
hydrogen philosophy now and realizing that battery EVs is the way to go? Or
I doubt it. But they did realize they need to sell some EVs because nobody's buying hydrogen. And
hydrogen. So you could probably sell hydrogen to the long haul trucking people.
Yeah.
Because if you're long haul trucking over the road, if you're over the road trucking, long haul, I was talking to someone who does trucking, and that's what he does. He actually owns his own rig, and one of the things that he desires is to be able to fuel up quickly. And I was like, but if it has enough range and you can travel long enough, you hit your mandatory break point anywhere where you have to take a break for X amount of time. So does it matter that as long as the charging is available where you need to stop at, which clearly they're going to have to put charging at all of the truck stops, places where all the truckers always, all the places where you guys stop at all the time anyway. And he said, no, but that infrastructure is not there. And so I need to be able to, okay, I said, okay.
I mean, when
I
the
said,
first Model S went on sale, there was no infrastructure for it.
exactly. I said, okay. I said, no problem, no worries. I said, you'll get there. I said,
See,
maybe not today the way it's set
yeah,
up right now today,
right. I mean, you
but
might not be able to be the first guy to
in a in a
take it on. Yeah.
in a few short years, it's going to be a totally different story. I said they're going to start off probably with the shorter regional commuting trucking
Frito-Lay is the
stuff.
first customer to take delivery in the States, and was it Walmart in Canada?
Walmart placed an order. Yeah, they placed a big order.
Well, I mean, from what we understand, who's getting the first ones? Frito-Lay is getting the first ones in the U.S., and I think it's Walmart that's getting the first ones in Canada. So Walmart only does hub runs, so they're coming from the warehouse to the store and back, so they're handled.
Right.
Frito-Lay, you're delivering bags of air.
Yeah, they are.
So so you don't need to worry about them. They know their routes, they know their distance, they got what they need. And so while they're taking delivery of their trucks, Tesla's doing exactly what they did with the Model S and building out the mega charger network. And by the time normal trucking companies, mom and pops, uh, they'll already have Loves, and everybody else will already have the travel islands. They'll already have what you need at the minimum requirements of your brakes. Because remember, Tesla's thing is they're going to sell this electricity to you cheaper than it costs at work or at home, and it's going to be done before you're done. Just like with the car, it's going to be done before your mandatory break is over, enough to get you to the next mandatory break. And then, once you're stopped for the night, it doesn't really matter how fast it charges. You can charge on a good level too, like good 100 amp level too, and be ready in the morning. The only hard part would be driver teams, but again, they have braking limits as well. So maybe you'll move your first brake up, unless you were, that 24-hour don't stop the rig deal. They're going to be the ones that have the most trouble with this when the prototype, not prototype, but the proto network comes out, where it's got just the basic stops on all the major roads. But then from there, they're going to do just like here. I can just point at the map, and I'll be poking on 3 superchargers within a 15-minute drive of here. The trucks will be the same way. So travel while the kids are sleeping. Life hacks. Yeah. So
and if you're traveling late at night like that, when the kids are sleeping, you're also avoiding the traffic too.
That's true, and less air conditioner use and all that. Although more heat if it's the winter time. So Nikola was always working on the electric. They've got claims of that they'll engineer their own packs, but they said that before, and then we found the stickers of other people's stuff just peeled back or covered up. So I'll believe it when they show it. Fool me once, I said it already. Dan also sent us this.
Wait, if Nikola is saving $350 million by making their own battery packs, how much is Tesla saving?
More, because they want to do it.
All right, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay.
Yeah, because remember LG got mad at GM for sharing that they were paying $125 per kilogram for assembled packs, and then Elon indicated that was cheap, or Elon indicated they were paying less than that for assembled packs versus the kilograms of cells. But he never said what they've never told us what Tesla pays for batteries. So I imagine that they're semi, 5 years later is much cheaper than that, especially with the 4680s. So this article headline from Dan says Rivian is not happy about to be left out of the new EV tax credit.
Because your trucks cost too much.
I was about to say why. That's exactly why. Yeah, because they start over 80,000. Technically, Rivian starting prices are under 80,000, but the automaker doesn't plan to deliver those cheaper versions for a few years. That sounds like a personal problem to me. The price limits are 80,000 for zero-emission vehicles and trucks, as well as 55 for electric sedans. Okay. Well, if you want to do it, then you're going to have to switch your production to the base model and remind everybody not to buy options. I don't. Although since they're the dealer, they would be able to cash that immediately on their taxes, because if they don't change it further than the insulin and the carried interest, then since Rivian is the dealer, they would be able to apply that to their taxes immediately as well. They give the customer, price off the price, and then when they file their taxes for the quarter, they don't have to pay it because they got a credit. But if that's important to them, you're going to have to shuffle around and sell base models. And at the same time,
but the problem is they're trying to sell the more expensive ones first. They're trying to do the Tesla model, sell the most expensive one first, make the most profit off of that until you can ramp up your production lines. Then you can sell the cheaper ones at a lower profit margin and still be good.
Yeah.
Because
the other thing they could do, other thing they could do is convert those Amazon van orders to the people who are actually driving them, buying them, and the order dates to be after the law goes into effect, and they could take that money.
I don't know.
But that's assuming that Amazon sells the Rivian vans the same way they sell the Sprinters, and I don't think they will.
I don't know.
Because they've got a mix of contractors that own the vehicles, and they've got a mix of ones where it's their employees driving their vehicles, and then
I think what makes the most sense. I think what makes the most sense for Amazon is for them to keep those vehicles in their fleet because they're trying to lower their operating costs and their maintenance, as opposed to selling them to the contractors. No, they'd rather
thanks for the van. I'm going.
they would rather let the contractors eat the gas prices and the maintenance and all that. So
for sure. So it just sounds like suck it up, Buttercup. You want it? Go after it. You don't want it? Don't complain. That's all I can say to Rivian.
It looks like Electric is saying the same thing. I get that it's frustrating for Rivian, but yeah, tough luck.
Right. Now, if these were actual individuals, I would have more sympathy to it. But this is a company, and they did this to themselves. Taiwanese energy companies supply batteries to Aptera and is rumored to produce the SEVs in Taiwan. So what is the SEV? And some of these rumors turn out to be that they actually are true, and others they turn out that the company later comes out and says, no, that's not true. Other times you'll find the company just won't comment on it, and then it might be true. But a lot of times, no, we didn't say that. All right,
so I think it's the solar EV. I think is what they're trying to make in Taiwan.
Solar EV, like they're saying the Aptera is solar powered, or like the other one.
The Aptera has multiple options. I think one of the options is to have it completely covered with solar panels and have it be solar powered.
Well, they're all solar powered. The question is how many miles you get per day and how many cells you get on the vehicle.
Right.
At the very least, the roof will be covered, but then you can get the hood and the tail covered as well. So let's see. They unveiled their first flagship. Okay, so yeah, solar electric vehicle. We don't need another acronym. Come on. Especially not one that you haven't introduced. So late 2020. So they're saying this Taiwanese company is going to build them in China or Taiwan. Signed an agreement with Formosa. Furthermore, the agreement could lead to advanced batteries and maybe even production. But that feels like a big maybe. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay, so probably just batteries.
Probably. I mean, they
would think that they just want to source their batteries there for now.
Yeah. They don't say what chemistry.
LFP.
But based on a signed agreement with NMC.
Oh, NMC.
And that makes sense because they'd be lighter. Because LFPs are heavy, but they're cheaper, and they are easier to deal with. Like you don't have to baby them as hard as NMCs.
Right. That's why I was thinking maybe LFPs. But you're right. They need to cut down on weight to make for a solar.
They got them little bird legs they're riding on.
Well, not only that, for being solar powered, you get more miles of range.
Yeah.
Out of that little bit of electricity you're getting out of your solar. If it's lighter,
especially if you're starting to stop, you got to keep accelerating that extra mass.
Right.
Yeah. The DSP leases the vans. Okay, so Amazon still owns them. All right.
Oh, okay. They lease them. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. We visited their facilities, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we'll come back to this and see if they say that they got the battery contract. Right now it's just a rumor, so I don't want to spend too many
I
minutes on
want
a
an
rumor.
Aptera.
Me too. I signed up
I,
to
I,
reserve one. You should
I
use
don't have
my
room for it. I can't.
you should use my reservation code down below.
I
You get
can't. I can't reserve one. I don't have room for it.
if enough people
I'm
use my
getting it.
code, I get a free Aptera, and you guys get big discounts.
Oh, there you go. Use this code. Use this code.
Yeah, I think I've got 1 or 2 discounts on it now. People have used my code and told me about it. So this one is also coming from Dan. He says, here's how gas stations can be transformed into super fast EV charging stations. So remember I did a video on 2 of them now. There's the one in Skilma Park, Maryland that converted themselves from an independent gas station to an independent EV fast charging station. And then there's the Wawa, actually several Wawas now at this point, that I think there's 2 or 3 that don't have gas pumps. Wawa is a regional gas station like a Buc-ee's or Sheetz or
I think they're most comparable to Sheets. Yeah.
or
Um.
Royal Farms.
Yeah.
They're not on the same level as Buc-ee's by any means. But they're more like Wawa and what we're talking about. Wawa. They're more like Sheetz and Royal Farms. Those are all East Coast for the most part.
Although I like Wawa better than Royal
Oh yeah,
Farms
oh
personally.
yeah,
And I like Wawa better than Sheets.
oh yeah, definitely.
But I like Buc-ee's better than
I haven't been to
Wawa.
Buc-ee's yet. I'm looking forward to it.
I've been to a Buc-ee's, and I actually kind of like Buc-ee's a little better than Wawa.
Yeah.
Speaking
Last
of
time I was
Buc-ee's,
at Buc-ee's, I was
Buc-ee's
asleep.
now has a supercharger. There's superchargers at a Buc-ee's in
Florence.
the new one in South Carolina. Yeah,
Yep.
Florence.
And they've got another 2 or 3 I've seen under construction. They've got hundreds of gas pumps and dozens of Tesla superchargers. Like you can see the sites getting built up. It's really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, where did we stop yesterday? We stopped at a Wawa yesterday for a supercharge because I left the car at 50% because I don't go anywhere anymore. and I told my wife, I said, hey, once we figure out where we're going, you should tell me so I can bump the charge level up and we can go. And that never happened. And then we left. Then we got there. We had like 30% left. Like we weren't concerned that we wouldn't make it. So we got there with 30%, and then like right across from where we're going, there was another supercharger. It was at a Wawa. I was like, yeah. So I bumped it up to 90 and let Elon pay for my charge. I got back here with 80%. Why not?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So all of that to say that this concept has been proven already. So now it's just a matter of doing it. So let's see what these guys say is for how that might work. So I see a big old charge box. So if that's not the equipment for this DC fast charger, then it would be a battery pack, which is going to be great for keeping your demand charges low. You can buffer out a couple of cars worth of, in a box that small, a couple cars worth of usage, or you can put a big battery bank out, and then you can run pretty much off grid and only fill up when it's cheap for you to do so, or with your solar banks. So let's see. Oh, because this is an interview.
And interestingly enough, so gas stations, they don't really make a bunch of money off the gas. People look at the high gas prices and think, oh, these gas stations are killing it. No, the oil companies are killing it. The gas stations aren't really making too much money off of gas at all. They're making pennies. But they make all their money off of the stuff that they sell in the little stores attached to a gas station. And if you have an EV charger station at a gas station, that means people will spend even more time at your spot than they do if they're just filling up gas, which means that they're more likely to go inside your store and buy something. So you're probably going to make more money that way. So to me, it makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kacey. So you're saying that it looks like it's an interview there?
Yeah, it looks like an interview. So what I'm going to do here is, what I'm trying to do is cut out the extra stuff in the URL, and I'm just going to paste it in here. You guys can read it when you feel like it. Dan, if you're going to give me an interview at the last minute, you need to be on to talk about it. Even if you only read half of it, it's more than I would have read. So there's a link to the article. Yeah, Wawa hoagies are good. Let's see.
Yes, Mike, Wawa is important.
Let's see. Copy this link and go here. Paste and go drive Tesla. Right, so the first batch of Tesla Model Ys have arrived in Australia. Finally. How many months is it after they started in the UK? At least 3, right?
This is why they need a gigafactory in Australia.
They don't have enough volume in Australia.
They're getting neglected down there.
And they would build this factory that's making millions of cars and had to put them all on a boat.
But they could supply, I don't know, all of Australia, New Zealand, I don't know, send them to Japan somewhere. I don't know.
But China's doing that already.
Yeah.
Yeah. China and Germany together are doing that already. They could put a regular factory. It doesn't have to be a gigafactory. You can put a regular factory in Australia. But then when you look at the cost of the gigapresses, it might not be worth.
Nah, yeah, that wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it to do a factory unless you're doing big volume.
Right. But you guys can finally get your cars. I know you ordered them like 5 years ago. They're finally arriving. Actually, when did the Model Y launch? 2019? 2017?
20...
Not 17, because I got mine at 18.
No, 2019?
That feels right.
Well, I think the first ones rolled off the line in 2020.
Okay.
I feel like it was 2020 when they started producing them. I think it was announced.
Yeah, because the Model Y was early. Like they showed it off. It was tucked in the corner. The blue one was in the shadows.
And it came early. It was like March of 2020, something like that. And it wasn't supposed to launch until like fourth quarter that year or something.
Right. And everybody's like, look, Elon's not always late. And I'm like, look, Elon still can't read a clock. Now he's early. So, in other good news, somebody's got bath time. She doesn't like it. The Tesla Model Y, Model S, and Model X Plaid in Europe deliveries are going to start in December of 2022. Also, this came up later. Your Model S Plaid will be able to tow, I think, about 3,500 pounds or 3,375, something like that, in Europe. Although, can it tow in the US? I think some of them, like Smoke, has had a tow hook, but not all of them.
I don't know if but that was probably aftermarket. I don't know.
No.
Rated.
Smoke came with a.
Oh, it came with it. Okay.
Because that's where they put the parachute.
I mean, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
For it to be able to, I mean, with that amount of power that it has a ridiculous amount of torque.
I think it helped that they had that rear casting, because when it had like a million pieces of welded metal, I bet a trailer would have warped that thing. Now, Model X has always been able to tow. If you get the big wheels or the tiny 19s,
the Model X. Yeah, even the older Model X's, they've always been able to tow. But
assuming you bought the optional towing package or later when it became standard. So the big wheels, the 22 inches, can tow 3,500 pounds, and the small wheels, the 19 snow tires, they can tow 4,900 pounds. And then the 20s that the Tesla never shows them in the advertisements, the 20s, they can tow 5,000. And it does it pretty well. You don't really notice it's behind you until you go to stop, and then it starts to push on you. and of course, if you hit a joint in the pavement, it does all that jumping around, and you can hear it. She's not happy about being dried off. There you go. So congrats to all of you guys. And with that, I want to thank Marcus and DD Smoke, and I want to thank Zachary for your kind donations. And I want to thank our channel members and patrons for your continued support as well. And we will catch you on the flip side.